Please take your seats. The meeting is about to begin. Remember to speak into the microphone, as this meeting is being recorded for public record. Please stand by. We are going on air in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 15th, 2026 meeting of the Public Safety Neighborhood Quality of Life Committee. I want to thank our Vice Chair and Vice Mayor, Laura Dominguez, for joining us this morning, as well as Commissioner Monica Mattel Salinas. And thank you for everyone in the public who is joining us. I'm going to pass it over to our staff liaison for the morning's announcements.
Good morning, everyone. Today's meeting will be a hybrid meeting with members of the committee being physically present in the commission chambers. Members of the public who wish to attend this meeting or provide public comment in person may appear at the commission chambers. Members who want to participate or provide comment virtually during the meeting may join via Zoom. For today's meeting, we have item number 8 that would be deferred. And then we have item number 12 that is an addendum. Discuss the potential creation of a quiet zone and the installation of related signage in the south of 5th neighborhood. This item was sponsored by Vice Mayor Dominguez. And those are our notes for today.
All right. Thank you so much. So with that, item number 8 is being shown as deferred. Item number 12 is being added to the agenda. And colleagues, my intent for today's meeting is to take the agenda in the order in which it's been printed. So with that, we're going to open up the Sudnick Citizen Forum. Members of the public wishing to speak are welcome to approach the podium, or if they are on Zoom, to raise their hand on Zoom, and you'll be allowed 2 minutes to speak. Anyone wishing to approach the podium is welcome to. And we see Johan with his hand raised on Zoom. Good morning, Johan. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Good morning, commissioners and staff. I want to put in a plug for my neighborhood. It is in the interests of public safety and quality of life in Flamingo Park neighborhood for the commission to this year fund our requested traffic impact study. Since traffic, and in particular micromobility, and the culture change that is needed among motorists in order to ensure safe micromobility, since that topic has been in discussion a lot recently, and in light of it being, in fact, newly elected Commissioner Mateo Salinas' strong suggestion to FPNA a year ago, which we enthusiastically embraced, namely to request this traffic study. There's been a bit of discussion within Flamingo Park Neighborhood Association's land use subcommittee about this. And so I would just urge you commissioners to begin thinking about how you might be able to include what will be a relatively modest amount of money in the budget, which I believe you will be passing in October. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? If you're interested in speaking on Zoom, please raise your hand on Zoom. If you're attending in person, wishing to speak, seeing no one approach the podium, and seeing no one with their hands raised on Zoom, I'm going to, yes, sir, please.
I just have a question.
No, please approach the podium.
I'm not here for this reason, but I noticed.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Rich Santelises, resident of Miami Beach.
Yes.
For 30 years. You guys know me. On my way here, I took my bike over. Can we get some bike stands outside? I'm trying to find a place to, where
Yes.
kind of become a blue zone city. So just a suggestion.
We are working on that,
There are
actually.
no bike stands outside, so I'm trying to tie it up to wherever I see.
And today, that would have been very helpful with the level of traffic that we have with the convention center.
Yeah.
That would have been very helpful. Our last meeting of the Public Safety and Neighborhood Quality of Life Committee, we focused substantially on micromobility issues. And part of what we are looking at as a committee is predictability in bicycle infrastructure, so that there is a master plan, so that people know within a certain proximity of every block, you can anticipate to potentially find a parking facility or a place to park your bicycle. So thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I love the fact that I think our police officers have e-bikes now too, so it's really cool. Good stuff. All right.
We have
See you guys in a minute. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. And any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the reasonable opportunity for the public to be heard. And let's go into our reports and updates, and let's go to update number 1.
Update number 1 is update on a timeline for construction of Miami Beach Convention Center Hotel and anticipated opening date. This item was sponsored by Vice Mayor Dominguez and co-sponsored by Commissioner Fernandez.
Commissioner Dominguez, do you have any questions on the item before us?
No, I'm okay to accept the report.
Okay, I have a question. Do we have a parking analysis as it relates to the hotel? Any potential impacts as to the availability of parking for the employees? Because I do see that we remain on track for hotel opening date of late 2027, which is not that far away. But I want to make sure that if there are going to be additional needs for parking for the employees of the hotel, that we start addressing those now. Welcome.
Absolutely. Good morning. I'm Yvette Batista with MB Mixed Use. We, as a joint venture between Terra and Turnberry for the hotel, we have Will Balinbin from Turnberry on the line that can speak to our plan. We have been working on a employee transit plan that we're ready to present, that will be ready to present on March 1st, all right, of 2027. That's our commitment to the city, but it is in progress. So are we able to allow Will Balinbin to
Good morning,
speak?
William. I see you have your hand raised on Zoom, and let's allow William to be unmuted and to present before the committee. Good morning. Good morning, William.
If not, I can go ahead and give the brief.
I think I heard him speak. It's just maybe not coming out.
Good morning, Commissioners. Can you all hear me?
Excellent.
Yes, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. As a quick background, again, my name is William Balinbin. I'm with Turnberry, partners with Terra on MB Mixed Use, the Grand Hyatt Miami Beach. We have approximately 320 parking spaces in our building for guests, valet only, and a handful of our executives. For our hotel staff, we'll have on average between 150 to 200 employees working at any one time at our building. We have a 4-part plan for transit that we will formally present to you all, like Yvette mentioned, in March. But our early recommendations that we are exploring right now and we will build out fully by March is 1, we're going to encourage public transit usage by our employees. And we will do this and encourage it by subsidizing our employees' parking transit passes. Number 2, we're going to encourage micromobility. So as an example, within our hotel, we are building almost double the required code amount of bike and scooter parking within our facilities for employees. Number 3, we're going to encourage employee carpooling. So those employees who do carpool, we're going to arrange for discounted pricing within neighborhood parking garages surrounding the hotel. And number 3, we're going to encourage park and ride and other shuttle routes within locations within Miami Beach.
Thank you, William. I just, and I appreciate the spirit of encouraging the workforce to embrace micromobility, to embrace carpooling, transit, park and ride. These are all great concepts. But when we're talking about at any given time having 200 employees at that convention center hotel, and that we really don't have parking for those 200 employees, that is going to create a challenge for our city center district, for our 17th Street hotel that as it is, it's at capacity, for our city hall, not hotel, garage, I'm sorry, our 17th Street garage that's at capacity, our city hall garage. As well, you see when the district is activated, when we have conventions that are in town, the availability of parking is extremely limited. And I need to see a better plan than this. I want the record to reflect, and I want you all to know well in advance that if this is the plan that is being anticipated to be brought before this body in March of next year, I feel that this should be one component of it, But to believe that the 200 employees that are going to be working at this hotel are not going to come in at all with their cars, I think is a very unrealistic and a very naive expectation. So I think I need to, next month, I need to understand what other alternatives there are available to Tara, for the, not Turnberry, to Turnberry, for the development of parking and the availability of parking for the employees. Because unfortunately, I do not see this meeting the needs. And it's gonna place a bigger burden on us. What's gonna end up happening is that, the union representatives of the employees that work at the hotel, they're gonna call all of us on the dais. And they're gonna expect for us to solve the problem for the 200 employees. And from where are we gonna make the parking spaces?
Yeah, we understand your concern, so absolutely, we'll form a better plan.
Yes, but I need an update, next meeting, please.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I agree 100% with the chair on this, and encouraging the employees without an incentive, it may not be as successful. I know that both Commissioner Fernandez and I have been working with the Fontainebleau, the second largest employer on the beach. I met with their HR department. They used to have a program where they shuttle people from different parts of the county. They're looking at bringing that back within the next month. And that's hopefully something that other hotels will look at. So as you're planning that, first, look to hire Miami Beach residents so that they can walk to work or use micromobility. A second, if you can't find the talent and you need to go outside, if the hotel flag will help with shuttle throughout the county to pick up employees, that's something that will really, really help, because our traffic is all from hotel employees, mostly.
Thank you.
Commissioner Salinas.
I just want to add that, it's, your hotel will have a problem keeping employees. You will have high turnover because folks won't be able to afford parking here, and the commute will be too long. So, as an employee incentive to help you and your hotel retain employees, I would highly suggest you give the workers on-site free parking. It's the least you can do, and I expect better, so thank you.
All right. All right, so I'd like for this to come back next month. We can give William time to walk us through other alternatives. I'd encourage you to see what other options are there around 17th Street as well to accommodate this parking. I know we're talking on the city-owned land where the office building is at, on 17th Street. Maybe there's opportunities there. There's a lot of parking there. I need to make it very clear, starting right now, that a facility with absolutely no parking for its employees is just not realistic in our city. So we need to be addressing it today. Thank you for being here. With that, we can show this item continued to next month. And, I see Commissioner Bond with her hand raised on Zoom. Good morning, Commissioner. Commissioner, good morning. You're welcome to speak on the item. PJ, if we could unmute Commissioner Bond so that she can offer her comments to the committee.
She's unmuted.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. Can you guys hear me now? Third time the charm?
Yes. Good morning.
Okay, perfect. Good morning. I just also wanted to throw into the mix, there is an office space, office complex being developed a few blocks away by Robert Ravani that currently has an enormous amount of parking, and even with his anticipated changes, we'll still have a significant amount of parking that is, it sounds like, wildly underutilized, and I think that needs to be put into the mix as well. So just wanted to throw that into the conversation.
Thank you, Commissioner. That is, that's great feedback, and I hope that the folks from Turnberry heard your feedback, so they can come back next month, hopefully with a more positive update on parking. All right, with that, we'll show this item continue to next month. Let's go to the next item.
Okay, the next item is a monthly update on the status of the Fifth Street pedestrian bridge and the Mandarin Hotel Mirador Condominium Baywalk projects. This item was sponsored by Vice Mayor Dominguez.
Madam Vice Mayor, is this your item?
Yeah, it's because there's been a little bit of misinformation put out on social media, and I did read the report. I would love David Gomez to give us a quick update.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. David Gomez, Director of Capital Improvements. We have had some progress. As you all are aware, there is an FPL feeder line that runs under the site of one of the support piers for the pedestrian bridge. FPL has had a little difficulty in locating the exact positioning of that infrastructure. They have gone through and done some more advanced locate or used more advanced technology to locate their lines. And
they paid for that?
Yes, ma'am. And as of this morning, they have provided us a location survey so that we can share that with the design team so that they can look at whatever impacts, if any, there are to the design of the foundations and what needs to be done. So moving forward, the next steps is for the design team to evaluate the location of that infrastructure and look at their design to see how it can be accommodated or if there need to be any changes made.
How long will that take?
I'm speaking for the design team that just got the survey this morning. I'll know more a little later this week or next, but I would imagine it would be at least a week or two before they can come back with information.
Thank you.
Now that the FPL exploratory work has kind of been addressed, and there's a survey being done, what is kind of the decision tree once that utility is fully located, via a survey, or in other words, what are the possible foundation redesign scenarios associated and their time impacts?
There's really two scenarios. The result of the locates indicate that they don't have to redesign anything, which is unlikely. And then the other alternative or the other route is that they have to redesign the structure. And that's something that we've yet to determine.
Okay, and if that utility alignment requires a redesign, who bears the cost and what contractual protection does the city have?
Contractually, any cost above our original contribution to the project is borne by the developer. This is one of those gray areas that I'm sure will be discussed further at some point.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I believe it was always the public's understanding that there was going to be a cap.
Yes.
As to the public subsidy of this, and then anything beyond that, it was going to be a developer obligation as part of a public benefit. And so I just want to make sure, because this was something that was unexpected, and no one anticipated to be having these challenges, but the city came to the table. This committee and the city commission, following the lead of this committee, we escalated pressure on FPL by withholding unrelated utility easements until the city manager agreed that FPL has done everything in its power to resolve the conflict. I think FPL, and I think that was meaningful leverage, and I think FPL came to the table. They've been trying to work with the city. They've been trying to work with the developer. But I want to make sure, by the same token, that we're not the ones, that the taxpayers are not the ones who are ultimately responsible to bear the cost overrun that is going to be created by something that was completely out of our control?
The terms of the agreement are that our contribution is fixed.
Okay.
But we do recognize that the developer will make his case for unforeseen conditions and something that goes beyond their expectations.
I think that the time to address that is now.
Okay.
I think the city has a lot of leverage at the moment, and I think the time to ensure that any cost overrun associated to this is not borne upon the taxpayers of the city of Miami Beach, who are already making a significant public contribution to this. Are there members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none in person and none on Zoom with their hands raised, we can show this item continued to next month.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Let's call the next item. Oh, and hold on, before we move on to the next item, I see Commissioner Bott has her hand raised on the 5th Street pedestrian bridge item. You're recognized, Commissioner.
Thank you. Sorry about that. There is misinformation being disseminated, which is really troubling, but that's another conversation. So what is the decision point to whether or not we continue with this path once the team has evaluated where the locates are and whether it is feasible as everyone anticipates, or if we start looking at other options?
So
I've got a lot of residents asking that question.
So David, just as from what we understand, they're working on a survey to handle, FPL's working on a survey to hand over to Tara, is that correct?
They just delivered that this morning, yes.
Okay, and based on that survey is what's gonna determine whether a foundation redesign is necessary or not, is that correct?
The options are, depending on the impact of the survey to the design of the foundations, it could be a relatively simple redesign of the foundation. It could be a significant redesign of the foundation. It could alter the structure of the bridge on that side of the bridge. So we don't know that yet until the design team has an opportunity to look at it.
And from your understanding, how long will it take the design team to determine whether a redesign will be necessary or not?
That process, since they just got the survey this morning, I imagine it'll be a couple of weeks before we know something more definitive. If a full redesign is required, it's easily months.
Okay, so hopefully we can get some sort of update at our May public safety meeting?
Yep.
Okay, all right, Commissioner Bott, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other members, well, the Commissioner's not a member of the public, she's an alternate member of the committee, but any members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none in person and none in Zoom, we can show this item continued to next month. Let's call the next report.
Okay, the next report is monthly updates on efficiency and enhanced enforcement related to excessive vehicular noise. This item was sponsored by Vice Mayor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. This is your item. You're welcome to introduce.
Thank you. So there has been an uptick in the last year of car and motorcycle noise in different pockets of our city, south of 5th, Alton Road, Collins Avenue, where the condos are, and MBPD has had citywide comprehensive enforcement, and would love to hear the latest update.
Good morning, Chief Morgallo. Welcome. Please guide us through this presentation.
Good morning. Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Assistant Chief Daniel Morgallo on behalf of Chief Jones of the Miami Beach Police Department. Very happy that our officers continue to be very diligent in prioritizing this enforcement, specifically in the areas that were outlined in the resolution, but not exclusively to those areas. So in the resolution, just as a reminder, it was the 5th Street corridor, 41st Street corridor, Collins Avenue between 43rd Street and 63rd Street, and along 71st Street. Those are the primary enforcement areas, but we're enforcing this citywide. And as I've mentioned in previous presentations, this is not a unique Miami Beach only problem. This is an issue that City of Miami is dealing with, that FHP is dealing with, that many jurisdictions are dealing with countywide. In addition to our enforcement efforts, we have been very proactive at getting the word out via social media and to the community that we are taking a very serious stance on conducting this type of enforcement. And I'm happy to report that as of last week, we have already surpassed the number of citations we wrote for all of 2025 in just 3.5 months of 2026. So we've written 676 citations specifically for either loud exhaust, motor vehicle noise, horns, or operating radios or other mechanical sound devices coming from vehicles. Of those 676 citations that we've already written this year, the overwhelming majority of them, 198, have been written in the Area 1 area of Miami Beach. And that is the same for all the other different categories of the citation. The majority of the violations that we've been encountering have been along the MacArthur Causeway, Fifth Street area of South Beach. Just to follow up with that, last month when we provided this presentation, we were asked to analyze our citations to see if we could identify any repeat offenders. So we went back and looked all the way to June of last year. So it's almost 1,000, little over 1,000 citations that we analyzed as the measure. And of the 1,000 citations almost that we looked at, about 37 only in total were repeat violators. So 3.7%. And of the 37, only 11 of those repeat violators were actually people that lived in the city of Miami Beach, one of those three Miami Beach specific zip codes. So we're going to continue our efforts. Captain Lozano, Major Rivero, and their team and operations have been very, very diligent at getting the message to the workforce, and I'm very happy to report that the workforce is responding, and they're doing great work.
Thank you, Assistant Chief.
Thank you. I know that I'm working on quiet zones for South of Fifth with the Transportation Department and FDOT, so we'll see where that goes. And I had it as a priority for our lobbyists in Tallahassee to allow the use of noise cameras, but that didn't pass this year, but we won't give up. We're still looking at other ways to help NBPD with enforcement.
One of the things that I love is that this memo shows the effort of our police department with citations rising from 96 in January to 315 in March. And since June of 2025, a total of 1,128 citations. And to your point, only 16% of those are Miami Beach residents, and the concentration of these citations are in South Beach. Correct. Let me ask you this. So I think this data that we have in front of us is great. It shows the effort of the department. I want to see some additional data for next month, and this is what I'm going to ask you for. I want to show effectiveness. Do we have a way, any way to track the amount of complaints? To me, that will show the effectiveness. I'm glad that we're issuing citations, but I want to see, okay, we've increased the amount of citations, but are we seeing together with that a decline on the complaint volume from our residents, especially in these targeted corridors, or are we only measuring the officer activity?
So again, from our perspective, we're primarily focused on the enforcement and measuring the enforcement as our primary matrix. A lot of the complaints don't come directly to the police department. Many times the residents either bring it up at a public meeting or bring it up directly with elected officials or administration. So we may not have detailed records of complaints to compare. And then anecdotally what we've seen.
And it might not even be the police department. I mean, you're the ones that always, unfortunately, get put on the spot because you guys are so great at the work that you do, but it really has to be a collaborative effort across a multitude of departments, including code enforcement. And a lot of times, this type of complaint will go to code enforcement, and so maybe is tracking that these complaints coming in about noise and seeing what's the correlation between the complaints and the officer activity? Commissioner Matel Salinas.
Chief, thank you. I just want to thank you and your team for taking this so serious. Because if you don't live in one of these areas, I think you don't realize how bad it is. And as a resident that lives on Fifth Street, it's bad. And I have purchased earplugs because I wouldn't be able to sleep through the night if I didn't have them. I mean, it really is bad. And I'm actually very happy to see, and not surprised, that you've given the majority of your citations in South Beach, because Fifth Street is like a highway. It's a 3-lane highway. When those lights are synced, people rev and go, and they blast out of here. So I will start calling in my complaints. I don't, because, out of respect for you all, what's happening, you're enforcing. But if we're trying to compare complaints to tickets, I'm happy to call these in every night. And I just want to thank you for taking this so serious. Sometimes I feel like I'm living in a Fast and Furious movie, really, truly. So South Beach is absolutely a hot spot, and I know that there's, a lot of residents that live there because there's so many, of those glass condos, which I would love to live in someday, but I don't now, but that's okay someday. And earplugs only go so far, but I appreciate the fact that you and my colleagues take this so seriously, because it really is a very noisy nuisance. Thank you.
Chief, what does success look like for the next update? Is it fewer complaints, fewer repeat offenders, fewer hotspot concentrations? How do we measure improvement? What's our goal for the next update?
So from our perspective, reducing complaints in general would be the goal that we want to achieve. It means that we're having a direct impact on the behavior, and our residents' quality of life is improving. That's obviously the ultimate goal for us in any type of enforcement like that. And because of the fact that our officers are doing such a great job on crime, it allows us the flexibility to be able to focus on a quality of life issue that we may not normally be able to focus on. So again, under Chief Jones's leadership, we've prioritized this. We've listened to our elected officials. We've listened to our community. We pride ourselves in being responsive to quality of life issues like this.
Yeah.
And ultimately, our goal is to reduce the complaints from our residents, because then that indicates a better quality of life.
I mean, it really is impressive. I mean, hats off to Chief Jones and to all of you. Is when you see the numbers, the noise violations over time, comparing it to 2024, comparing it to 2025, then you see the numbers for 2026. You guys have truly taken this seriously, and it'll be great to see that overlap of data, of tying the violations and seeing what impact is that having on the complaints from our residents. With that, I'm going to open up the item to members of the public wishing to speak on this item. Anyone in the public wishing to speak, please approach the podium. On Zoom, we have Johan with his hand raised. Good morning, Johan. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Yes, good morning. With apologies to the assistant chief, obviously with the point being to get as few complaints as possible, but in light of our neighbor Monica's comments, I wonder if it would be helpful, in fact, to actively encourage residents to contact the department every time we hear this noise. We too here on the alley even have been noticeably troubled by revving motors and such. Obviously, they're not driving up the alley as a rule, but we still hear it. So even in amongst the buildings. So I'm wondering if, in fact, that would be a good way to incentivize even further the crackdowns on these nuisance noise for every resident to be encouraged to contact the department every time they hear a car. We haven't done so on the assumption that by the time the police would be able to react, no fault of the police's, these lawbreakers are long across the causeway. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think I can speak for everyone probably on the commission that we are blue to the face and asking people, don't direct your complaints on law enforcement and matters like these to us. Call police. If it's an emergency, call 911. If it's a non-emergency, call 673-7901. Get the complaint registered, do it. I mean, it's just, I've become a broken record on it. I've become such a broken record that I know the number by heart. And, you know, you all, the department goes to great efforts to try to encourage people to report this. Okay, so we'll continue this is it next month that we continue this item, or is it a quarterly update?
We can change it to quarterly, that's fine.
All right, so we'll continue this to the next quarter. And I think it'll be great, Assistant Chief, for the next quarter. Let's just, get some complaint metrics, because that'll give us a fuller understanding on the outcomes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you again for the tremendous effort and for taking this so seriously.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next item.
Okay, the next item is the monthly updates on the status of ongoing and future projects involving the use of Leonard Hurwitz color palettes for Art Deco building restorations on collaboration with Barbara Hulenicki. This item is sponsored by Vice Mayor Dominguez.
Sorry.
Yes, Vice Mayor, yes, you're recognized.
I recently had a great meeting with Barbara Hulenicki. We went through all of the projects. There were some questions, and Liz and her team answered them. So I'm fine to accept the recommendation of the city administration to close this item. And in the future, I may come back with something when it's more specific, but nothing more to discuss right now. Yeah.
Commissioner Matil Salinas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item was passed before I was elected, but I just have one quick question. This list is great, and I love what we're doing. This has really, truly been beautiful for all of our buildings here. Why isn't the police station a part of this?
So we haven't contemplated a police station as one of our locations, but we do have a project in place to paint the police station this year that just got funded this year.
Paint it white?
We haven't determined the colors yet. So all the items that you see before you have been passed by way of legislation. They were specific, but the police station wasn't one of the designated projects.
Well, I think it'd look beautiful on the police station, and since we're already doing City Hall and we did Ocean Rescue, what do my colleagues think?
Yeah, sure. I think we should get feedback from the police department, but yeah, I'm
We
okay
would
to
also,
it.
just as a caveat, we do need to confirm with planning if it would be appropriate
Right.
based on its style.
I would like to ask you this because in the Art Deco Historic District, we have in Loomis Park, throughout Loomis Park, the public bathrooms. For the most part, they're white structures, but they're white structures in the backdrop of very colorful Art Deco buildings. And I think it'll be interesting to see, these beautiful new Art Deco buildings, because these are relatively new buildings. These bathrooms that are in Loomis Park, how would they look in these Art Deco colors? And these are more modest, smaller sized buildings that might be easier to complete, but bring in, the beauty of these Art Deco pastels into this public area.
So with those restrooms, what we can do is we can also work with planning. They would have to be they would basically confirm what the final color palette would be, but those won't require HPV review, so.
They would require HPV?
No, they wouldn't.
They would not? I love for you guys to come back with feedback from planning if you're,
Totally fine.
About the police station. Certainly, I would love for the police department and the chief to give us their feedback about painting the building, and as well these structures that we have on Loomis Park that do carry Art Deco architecture.
Sure thing.
All right. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none on Zoom and none in person, we'll show this item continued to next month. This is a monthly update?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll show this item continue to next month. Next item.
The next item is item number 1, discuss the Green Jefferson Avenue bicycle lanes with the Transportation and Mobility Department and Miami Beach Fire Rescue. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Fernandez.
Okay, I see that we got an update in the memo showing that the, what do we call these things? These concrete blocks.
Curbs, the
I'm sorry?
concrete curbs,
Yeah, the concrete curbs have been replaced with delineator poles.
Plastic.
And, there were concerns about the potential impact that this could have on safety. Chief, thank you for joining us. I know our residents were concerned when they were trying to see the trucks maneuver in and out of the station. Does this create better conditions for the men and women working at Fire Station 1?
Yeah, good morning, Chief Avello. Thank you, yes, Commissioner. This new planning that was constructed after has definitely improved our backing and exit procedures out of the fire station.
Okay, all right, so with that, we can accept this item and move on to the next item.
Thank you.
The next item is discuss take action regarding the expanding of public seating sponsorship pilot program beyond Lincoln Road to other commercial corridors and side streets, including partnership models and maintenance responsibilities. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Fernandez.
Thank you, Stephanie. This is an item that I put on the agenda. Currently, we have a model with a Lincoln Road bid for the sponsorship placement and the maintenance of public seating along Lincoln Road to help our businesses and to help our residents and our visitors have places where they can go buy stuff at restaurants and go sit outdoors and enjoy what they've bought. I'd like to see us expand this model to other areas, whether it be 41st Street, whether it be Alton Road, whether it be Sunset Harbor. I think there's opportunity to be able to support the small businesses in our city who at times struggle. And it's a way that we can get them a bit of assistance so that they can continue having customers come and support their establishments. I'd like to welcome you, Mr. Director, to present on the item.
Good morning, Chairman, Commission, John Norris, Public Works Director. Yes, this has been a fairly successful program within the Lincoln Road bid. They have been managing the program. Basically, they are allowing unbranded tables and chairs that are intended for the public to be placed adjacent to restaurants that do not qualify for the outdoor dining program or parklet dining program. And those would be restaurants that do not have indoor seating. Typically, they'd be like a takeaway restaurant. Somebody goes up to the window, orders something, or they walk inside to a counter, order something, and it gives the patrons somewhere to sit down and eat their food. The most recent addition was an ice cream restaurant where people got ice cream, they came and sat down. I want to reiterate that these are unbranded. They don't have any logos from the restaurant. I think we would be open to a bid maybe branding them if they wanted to, but the bid would be responsible for the purchase of the tables and chairs, setting the standards for the tables and chairs, and the housekeeping, removal of the tables and chairs in the evening and bring them back out in the morning. Obviously, they could leave that to the particular business, but the enforcement lies with the business association. And given that, that does limit some of the areas in the city where we could do this pilot program, but they are the areas that would probably be most in demand. Washington Avenue, 41st Street,
Espanola Way,
Normandy area. I don't know if there's a business association there, and we could certainly look at other ways to implement this program. It is a pilot program, which is meant to be dynamic and change. We just need to figure out how to maintain responsibility for the program because we are not receiving any funding for it, so it does put additional work on staff. So that's why we wanted the bid to kind of handle this, and we work with the bid very well, and and
I'll
that
tell
has
you,
worked out.
I'll tell you from my perspective, Sunset Harbor is one of those areas where residents frequently visit. It is, it's kind of, the residence area. But that area has suffered tremendously. We've seen a high turnover of restaurants there. I think it would be prudent of us to see what could be established in the Sunset Harbor area to provide for a model like this so that the empty retail could benefit from this type of seating and hopefully reinvigorate the area with local restaurants that people can continue enjoying for a long time. That's where residents would go. And slowly, we've been losing the restaurants and the commercial activity there that people loved. And so I would love for us to explore, an area like Washington Avenue, but also an area like Sunset Harbor, so that it is a direct benefit to our residents. Commissioner Mateo Salinas.
I agree. I love this program, and I like what you said about you're open, because in North Beach, maybe we can look at some of the area around the Normandy fountain, and we've got David Sexton who runs the fountain up there, and so we could maybe look at some pockets up there that, in partnerships. And I agree with you about the areas that you mentioned, but I would really like this to be citywide, provided we can find a partner that can assist with this.
And I think identifying what that partner would look like, the easy thing would be a business association, but there might be other opportunities. The other thing to keep in mind is they would have to be takeout type restaurants, because otherwise it's competing with the outdoor dining program, which has very stringent regulations. And we don't want to take away from that and have people stop doing the outdoor dining, which is very standardized and works well in all the districts, in lieu of going to something that might be a free program that's sponsored by a business association, and then that kind of expand over time to where now it's becoming outdoor dining. So it is very important that we limit this to the restaurants that currently qualify. If they have indoor seating currently, they can come and apply for outdoor dining or a parklet type program, so.
So I like the suggestion that Commissioner Salinas had about, reaching out to the Normandy Business Association, seeing whether there's an interest there. I'd like for us to explore Sunset Harbor and Washington Avenue, and perhaps we can bring this back. How much time do you need for this? You need a month, 2 months?
I think a month is sufficient. We can reach out to the different districts. And now, do you want us to reach out to restaurants that are not in an area that currently has a business association? Because that might take a little bit longer.
I think I defer to your judgment on that. I think I want to see this program help areas like Sunset Harbor. That right now they're suffering. And so that means you need to reach out. I mean, there's not a business association there, a business district there. So that means you might have to reach out individually to a business. But I think to the extent that we can do that as an economic development incentive and to support local commerce, then I'm completely open to it.
Okay. Then if I could revise that and ask for 90 days.
Yes,
And we will
of
reach
course.
out to businesses that would qualify for this program.
Okay, so 90 days, we'll bring this item back to the committee. And I'd encourage you, I see we have Heather Shaw here from our Economic Development Department. I'd encourage you to work with Heather, and they do great work in engaging with our business community.
Absolutely. Thank
Yes. With that, are there any members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none in person and none in Zoom, we'll bring back this item in 3 months. Next item.
Next item is discuss, take action regarding the adoption of an official City of Miami Beach mascot. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Mateo Salinas.
Commissioner Salinas.
So this item is going to be epic if it gets support here. It's fun, it's kitschy, it's cool, it's cute. Hi, Melissa, please approach. Hi. So the idea is that we have a city mascot, just like a sports team would. And I know you might think, wow, no city does that. That's exactly why we should do this. I think this would be a great example of family-friendly fun, morale, city morale. We could bring it out to our parks department when we have, Easter egg hunts or any type of events featuring children. Just this past weekend at Pride, we had the University of Miami, their mascot came out. It was a hit. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And actually, my idea is to have pick 3. I guess your team could come up with 3, and then residents would vote on which would be the appropriate mascot. And PJ, I sent you an image. My aide Kevin AI'd some potential mascots, but I'm open. I don't have any type of idea what we could use, but you can come up with that. And then after residents vote on a mascot, then we get it done, and we start sending our mascot out to events. I will personally volunteer to dress up as the mascot on its inaugural, out in the public type of event. And that's my item. So I'd love to hear my colleagues. And I'm asking for bravery against the Facebook haters who, kind of think that this is a silly item. And it is silly, but it's fun silly, and it's very low cost. And I think that the branding and the morale, the booster of this, I think would be a great idea. These are some of the ideas that I came up with. It doesn't have to be this. I'll let your team take it away. And that's my item.
Good morning, Melissa. Welcome.
Thank you. Sure. Well, thank you. It was the first time I was seeing those graphics. So in the brief research that we did, we saw that not many U.S. cities, like you noted, do have mascots. There's definitely Linton, Indiana, who has a frog. The one that I knew is Puxatawny, which is the groundhog. I think a lot of people know that one. Ketchikan, Alaska, has a salmon. And then there's a couple of others, one in Virginia that has ponies. Like you mentioned, I think there's a lot of sports teams that do have mascots. Happy to help bring your idea to life. I think it's much more of like a Parks and Recreation type of mascot for us. Like you said.
I have to say, I love the idea about, partnering with our parks departments, because so many kids participate in sports activities, and so many families participate in family activities, and they might not do it in their schools. And the Parks Department actually activate. And here's Cindy. Cindy, you do so many great events as well. And I think, like our Hispanic Heritage Festival, you guys not only organize the event, it's a beautiful event. I mean, it draws out the crowd. And I do think it is kind of cool. It is kind of cool to, now incorporate this element. But, with the schools, at least when you're in a school, you're participating in a school team, and there's a mascot in your school team. But what if you're not participating in your school team, but you are participating in it through the Parks Department? Well, now you don't get that type of spirit. I think introducing that into the offerings and into the experience that kids have in our Parks Department, it kind of sets that level playing field where they don't have a different experience than a kid participating in a regular school.
Good morning, Chair, committee members. Cindy Casanova, Assistant Director for Parks, Facilities, Fleet and Beaches. Fun fact, maybe about 15 years ago, we actually had a Parks and Recreation mascot. It was Buddy the mascot. It was what used to be the city logo, which was the sailboat and the waves in the back. It was a big ball, and it was super cute. The kids absolutely loved it. He retired, but we're happy to work with Melissa and her team on bringing something to life, because I agree. I think it would be a great addition to our programming.
It's team spirit and community spirit. And one of the things that I think that we can do as elected officials, it's not just build community. And I talk about this all the time. It's not just about passing budgets and creating infrastructure and building community through master planning. It's about building community through bonds of people. How do you bring people together? I think our parks and our public spaces is, one of the most beautiful things about Miami Beach because it's what really sets us apart from most other cities. We have all of these world-class park facilities that other municipalities don't have. But how do we keep on, growing upon that and using that to keep on bringing people together and community pride and unity? And I think just much like in schools that they have their mascots, reintroducing it. It's not just introducing it, it's reintroducing it into our park system could be a very exciting thing. Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you for the creativity. It's very cute. Our sister city, Fujisawa, actually has a mascot. They call it Fuji-kun. And I was trying to see if I could send it to PJ, but and they have stuffed animals and Fuji-kuns out there. So it's a great idea. I love it to start it in the Parks Department. The graphics that you had up went by too quickly, so I don't remember if you had a turtle there, but we do.
I don't remember
that might
either.
be a
PJ,
good
if you don't mind
idea
putting it back up. Oh, no turtle.
to
But we
be-
can add a turtle.
For a turtle to be considered.
Yep, absolutely. And Melissa, is that okay, the idea to have the residents vote on this like we do with our Basel purchase every year?
Sure, or we may want to do it within the park system if it's for the kids. We can talk about it unless you guys have a preference.
I think
both.
Yeah.
Would be my
And maybe you can start by asking the kids in the Parks Department, what they would, what ideas, what would they like to bring forward, nominate, and, then from there narrow down. I'll tell you, I love the fact, I think the flamingo is now our state bird. I think the legislature, after years, for years, the legislature was trying to adopt a state bird. And I think it was Senator Calatayud who sponsored the bill, and I think this year finally got passed. And I think flamingos. There is a Flamingo Park. We have the Flamingo Park Historic District. We have the Flamingo Park neighborhood, and it just builds upon that spirit. So I think it's exciting stuff.
Great.
You want to keep it in? You want to keep it in committee? You want to send it to? Oh, I see. Let me recognize Commissioner Bod, who has her hand raised.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out, the whole world watched astronauts go around the moon, and that was a very serious scientific mission. There was a lot of work that went into it. There was a lot of work that will be coming out of it. And also they had a very cute crowdsourced by a child mascot that traveled with them every step of the way. And that, I forget the name of the mascot, but it was like a little moon wearing a baseball cap in the shape of decorated like the Earth surface. And it was so popular that it's now being made into a mascot that people can buy, like a little plush toy. So for the haters on Facebook, you don't have to. Things don't always have to be hard. You can inject a little joy into life. And I think one of the reasons why the moonshot was such a gripping experience for so many people around the world was that it was incredibly difficult and incredibly important and serious, and it was also joyful. And I think that is something we need to strive for. And this is a measure that does exactly that.
Life is so difficult and so stressful. Whenever every moment that we have just to insert a little bit of joy, why not? What do we lose by bringing people a little bit of happiness, a little bit of joy, a little bit of unity? And if we could leverage our public offices to do exactly that, while still maintaining a world-class city, an incredible brand that our marketing and communications department has created, and support the activity of our parks department, is a win-win proposition. I'm going to open the item to members of the public wishing to speak. Kevin, I see you are here. Please feel free to approach the podium. You have 2 minutes to speak. Welcome.
Kevin Kruger, 9-year resident, 3rd Street, and I think you probably know that I'm quite enthusiastic about this. So I didn't know about this. Monica, great idea. Those of you that know me, besides commercial real estate, I have a sports tourism network, and I have a merman as our mascot holding a pineapple. I like the idea of
Merman, you said?
a merman. It's hospitality, so I like the pineapple theme. But what I wanted to add is some context. So the Seattle Seahawks just turned 50 and celebrated that Seahawks is a made-up species, but it flows with alliteration. And so they celebrated that recently. And as a Red Sox fan, Wally the Green Monster was booed, like I'm hearing apparently on Facebook. The first time he came out, I was there, and now he's beloved. But what I would encourage, maybe, if you all determine, is to create buy-in through our residents, our citizens, submitting. Is that what they're doing, or you're coming up with it and they're voting?
Right, exactly. We're going to come up with options. Yeah.
So what if you just open it up and you grab the creativity like this gentleman with the Seahawks? And if you'd like, I can send you a couple of these background. That way you're creating buy-in by participating actively rather than passively voting after the fact. That's my 2 cents, 3 cents.
Thank you, Kevin. Yes, please.
So I've just been informed that apparently Hialeah has a pink flamingo as their mascot. So congrats, Hialeah. Great thinking, great idea. So maybe we don't do a flamingo, but I like that idea. And if the kids want to come up with some, and and then maybe the kids source the top 3, and then the residents vote. I don't know.
And I volunteer Kevin. To wear the outfit.
I will do it, and then you can go after me.
Well, there's also going to be a mermaid competition. Mermaid, king and queen of the court.
I'll pass on that one, but I'll.
All right.
Was just run over by lunch trucks.
All right.
There's also Molly the Big Monster.
All right. So with that, we can show this item coming back. You want to send it to commission? What's the action?
I'd like to send it to commission. I want this to get done as fast as possible, especially because we have summer camps coming up. So.
Oh, this could be a great summer camp activity.
It is, but I will say that it's April, and summer camp starts in less than 2 months. And so if we want to actually fabricate something, I mean,
maybe what I would suggest, I don't know if that's feasible to have something, but use the opportunity that the kids are in the summer camp to develop, the idea to get their participation. And you're going to have how many kids participate in our summer camps?
Oh my God, close to 900.
Okay, so that's 900 kids and 900 parents. And there right there is our opportunity to get ideas, pull them, and have them be part of this exciting process of developing the mascot program.
And I don't know if how long it takes to fabricate a mascot. So if maybe it's a year or something, I really don't know, but it would be very cool if we could get this off the ground and maybe the mascot makes their appearance at the playtime review at the end of summer camp. Do you think that's too quick?
which is in July. I'm not sure because
Oh,
this
it's in
is the
July?
first time that I did. Yeah, it's in July.
I think it's
right?
in July,
Right.
yeah. All right, well, I mean, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but that would be so cool.
Even if it's not for the playground review, maybe something that, is done toward the end of the summer camp program in August. We'll see, we'll have to see with the manufacturer how long it's gonna take to design
Okay.
it, put it together.
All right.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll send this item back to commission with a favorable recommendation and show that done by acclamation. Next item.
The next item is discuss a farmer's market pilot program at North Beach Oceanside Park. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Bach.
Commissioner Bott, this is your item. You're welcome to introduce your item.
Yeah, hi. I'm literally around the corner from City Hall. Would it be possible to go to the next one and then come back to this one? I know you were doing this in order, but I would really love to be there in person. And I'm literally not even 5 minutes away.
Commissioner, I'll out of a courtesy, since you're close to City Hall, but colleagues, I'm a stickler to following process in my committee, and it's our committee. But as the chair, I need to maintain order of the committee. Last committee meeting, the same thing happens. There is an order for the agenda, so that, not for us, but so that the public knows when the items are going to be called. So I'll do the courtesy this time because you're close to City Hall, and I know the traffic has been really bad around City Hall for the past few days. But please, in the future, let's try to stick to the order of the agenda for the benefit of the residents who want to know when their items are being called. So with that, let's go to.
Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes, let's go to the next item.
The next item is item number 5, receive a spring break 2026 after action report. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Fernandez.
So I placed this item on the agenda because I do think it's important that while spring break is still fresh in all of our minds, and the feedback that we received from the residents and what each of us individually experienced, that we're able to compile our thoughts, our recommendations, so that we can send those back to the city commission. I think today we're going to get a preliminary update while staff regroups. I see we have our police department here, but I also want to highlight the fact that when we discuss this again, I just don't want to see the police department here. I want to see all relevant departments, transportation, parking. I see communications is here and code is here. Parking is here, okay. But I want to make sure because, sanitation, everyone, this is all hands on deck. And it's always police that ends up at the podium, and I thank you, Assistant Chief. But the true success of our spring break, I believe, is the cross-collaboration between all the departments. So with that, I'm going to recognize you to introduce the item since you were the first one at the podium.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Assistant Chief Daniel Morgallo on behalf of Chief Jones and the Police Department. We've been asked to be the face of this item for this month, while at the same time asking for the courtesy from the Commissioner and the committee to recall this item next month so that we can have a more comprehensive presentation, as you alluded to in your introduction, sir. So we continue to see outstanding progress being made with spring break and moving towards the spring break of the future for Miami Beach and for this community. Specifically from the law enforcement perspective, arrests were down 16% citywide and 25% in the spring break zone, the designated spring break zone. We continue to see the streets and the community feel safer, and the results are shining through with all of the successful activations that we've seen in the city. Our focus remains on keeping the community safe, elevating public safety, and maintaining strong quality of life for our residents and our visitors to the community. We successfully conducted Operation Trigger Lock again this year, which is a targeted proactive operation to find armed offenders or subjects engaging in felonious behavior. We made 39 felony arrests as a result of it. We confiscated 28 firearms. We had 28 firearms really arrested and 37 stolen firearms that were taken off the streets. So from the law enforcement side of things, we continue to move in a positive direction, and we look forward to continuing to work with all of the different city departments moving forward and continuing to elevate spring break for Miami Beach.
Thank you, Assistant Chief. Any other department wishing to provide an update at this time? Please feel free to approach the podium. Hernan Cardeno, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. So in code compliance, following the same trends that we saw in police year over year, we had about an 18% reduction in our calls for service, in our violations, and most importantly, as we see it, in our noise complaints. As broken down by district, as you can imagine, it was the South District and the Entertainment District that accounted for about 64% of all of our violations and 62% of our noise complaints, followed by the Middle and the North District at 17% and 19% respectively. But we're very happy with the year-over-year decrease because it's coming off of the prior spring break last year also, where we experienced a decrease. So we're looking probably at about a 3-year trend that we'll articulate for you for next meeting. We also have a breakout of all of the types of violations that we saw. That's in the committee memo.
Okay. Thank you, Hernan.
Thank you.
Chief Abello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Chief Avello. As you stated earlier, we have seen a huge reduction in EMS and fire calls pertaining to the entertainment district during the peak of March. I went back to 2014, back then we only had one rescue unit on the last weekend of March. Whereas now we were staffing up to 18 days in March. We reduced it this year down to 11, just keeping it like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We also reduced the amount of hours that we had our personnel out there from 18 hours down to 15, down to 11 this year, with a reduction of almost 60% in our call volume, specifically to the entertainment district, went from last year around 80 calls to 16 calls. And citywide, almost 50% of the call volume has been reduced as well.
And I know that you also collaborated with our police department on the unified command, and we saw you guys working hard out there together with our police.
Yeah, and that's a proactive, trying to get this ingrained as a systematic, process to do. Because of the future, what we have coming up, which is FIFA, we want to make sure that it's not our first time collaborating like that, should we have a major incident. So this was a good opportunity to get our staff acquainted with each other, people that normally don't work with each other in that type of command structure environment, until the chiefs and executive level staff arrives on scene.
And it was also great to see the unified collaboration, for example, with the issues with like the nightclubs, seeing police, code enforcement, fire coming together to truly tackle this in a very coordinated manner through this unified command. So thank you very much for that. You guys truly were very responsible.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning again, Melissa Bertier, Director of Marketing and Communications. This March, we definitely changed our messaging from the past 2 years of declaring what we're not, anything goes party town, to confidently saying what we are, a health and wellness capital. So our campaign, as you saw, we launched a video, we had digital ads, we had outdoors, and it garnered 22 billion impressions.
Yes, Commissioner Matel Salinas.
Are we going to do a video next year too?
So that, I'd love to hear feedback on your thoughts. We've done it for the past 3 years successfully. So potentially we are, but I would love to hear your feedback.
I think we absolutely should. And, I remember the first year that we did it, our former city manager and I, we sat on the board of the GNCVB, and they were great partners in bringing it forward. Now, Vice Mayor Dominguez sits on the board of the GNCVB and has been working closely in collaboration with you as well on the marketing campaign. And I do believe that it is perhaps one of the most important elements of this campaign. We can pass all the policies that we want, but unless the public is aware of these policies, then they do not yield the desired outcomes to improve conditions. And in fact, it's why 2023, after the spring break, right after the 2023 spring break, when the business community came forward and said, we're willing to take the leap of faith and support proactively endorsing curfews, it was great that we did that a year in advance. Why? Because for an entire year, we were communicating. And we were telling people, this is what you should expect for the next spring break. And not just to the public, but also very importantly to the business community. The business community now had predictability. They knew how to do their programming, how to do their staffing, how to do the products that they had to buy, their promotions and all that. It gave them ample time. So I think we should definitely continue it, Commissioner Salinas. Actually, what I would love is, more, working together early on. It's a marketing campaign that belongs to the city of Miami Beach, and making sure that we are all providing you feedback and input on it, and being able to unveil it at the city commission and making sure that we have everyone's input and participation from the dais on it. Yes.
You know, I just
Commissioner
want to throw the city its roses collectively. You guys have all done an amazing job of changing the narrative from what we all thought was hopeless and chaos and would we ever get out of it. I mean, people would literally leave town. And so everybody who's here and everybody who's not and all the people on the front lines, you know, the sanitation crew was out one night when I was doing a ride through, and I'm like, are you walking? What are you doing? You know, we want to come with us? And they're like, no, we're saving our energy because when everyone here goes home, we're starting to clean the streets so that when they come back out at 8 o'clock for their run, it's going to be pristine. So it is a top to bottom organizational effort. It is remarkable. It happened in very short order, all things considered. And so I want to give that to everybody. And I also want to point out, as a marketing and branding professional, the work that has been done on relatively limited budgets compared to, like, for instance, a hot new Peloton ad that just might have broken in the last day and literally pushed stock through the roof. It changed the conversation. It changed the flow of what happened. It changed the perception of what is possible, and it has changed the future of our city. And so that's pretty damn good work. And I think you guys, Melissa, you and your crew and their partners at the GMCVB should really take a step back. 'Cause I know we're asking you guys to do things all the time, large and small. But, you know, when you have a chance, like, really sit with that for a minute, because that is a generational shift. That is a career-making opportunity, and you guys knocked it out of the park. So kudos.
Thank you very much.
And 22 billion impressions. I mean.
Yes, we actually surpassed, believe it or not, the breakup, which was 19.5 billion, if you remember, in 2024. We blew it out of the water, I think, with the reality check because everybody was wanting to see the sequel of the breakup. But we were very proud, with that figure. Year 4 is going to be another challenge.
But you see, but I think that reinforces that sometimes, positive messaging that, shows us also as a welcoming destination and focusing on what we want to be, a welcoming destination, highlighting the fitness related programming, which was phenomenal, promoting wellness oriented locations that we had throughout the city, the financial services events that we had as well. I think promoting all of that is so important because it just shows how we have pivoted, and you start to attract tourism that wants to participate in this health and wellness activity and break into a sweat during the month of spring.
And to the point you made earlier about inserting joy into our daily lives, the campaign was a little goofy, and there are some people on Facebook, the keyboard warriors, God bless them, who are like, they got their little kitten claws out. But the fact is, it was goofy and it was fun, and it told the message perfectly. And so goofy and fun is desperately needed right now. And so that's not going to be our brand necessarily going forward, but inject joy where you can. And you did, and people responded to it. And I think this is a conversation that keeps happening among our colleagues on the dais, among our staff colleagues, among residents. And I know I hear it from residents all the time when joy is inserted to things, especially hard things. Like you look at the crosswalk that was reinstalled and the Pride Parade that followed and the entire week's activation. People are so happy to have the hard things done, but presented with a joyful, wrapped up in a bow of joy. And, I think that's the direction that people are resonating with here in the city. I hear it all the time. I'm sure you guys hear it all the time.
100%.
Where residents are saying, this feels like a city for and by the residents, which it hasn't in a long time. And I think that is that's the direction we want to keep on.
Residents want positivity.
Everybody does. Everybody's desperate for it. So.
Yes. Thank you, Melissa.
Good work.
You're very welcome.
For your creativity. Truly appreciated. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Lisita Arrogante, Director of Tourism and Culture. Good morning, Commissioners. Speaking of fitness, the Tourism and Culture Department for the month of March permitted some really amazing dynamic fitness activations, starting with a 305 half marathon. We had Waterpalooza on the second weekend, which is city incentivized. And the third weekend, we had Ethics Games by Adidas, the first ever North American exhibition by Ethics. So we were really thrilled to have them here in Miami Beach for the first time. We permitted about 34 special event permits for March, which included Miami Music Week. So we closed out the month really well. And so we are continuing to change the narrative, like you're saying, bringing fitness and fun events to the city of Miami Beach.
Thank you, Lisette. I want to also thank our colleagues, Commissioner Joseph Magazine and Commissioner David Suarez, who have led tremendously on fitness activations and financial services. They have been an important part. We know how we have enforced the nighttime. We've learned how to enforce and restore order to the nighttime, but how do you activate the daytime? Because it's not just about enforcement, but it's also about positive activation and filling the void. And that's, I think, something that this spring break we have seen a total pivot on, is positively activating the void of the daytime. Good morning.
Morning, John Norris, Public Works Director. From our perspective, it was a very quiet spring break. Our sanitation crews did an excellent job. Commissioner Abad, I appreciate the call out, because most of what we do is behind the scenes, and they're working overnight to restore everything like nothing happened the day before. From an engineering standpoint, we limited projects in the entertainment district to avoid disrupting traffic flow. And from an infrastructure perspective, we had plenty of people on call to take care of issues that arose, so nobody knew they happened.
All right, thank you, John. You guys keep our city shining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Parking Director.
Hey, good morning.
William McDonald, good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. So I want to thank really the commissioners that are here and those that aren't here for giving the administration the opportunity to do something that we hadn't quite done in the past. So unlike other departments, a lot of our year-over-year numbers don't really correlate, because obviously what we did this year was way different than what we had done in the past 2 years. However, allowing us the liberty to focus on working with our transportation team to make parking and transportation harmoniously, do aggressive pricing on the curb to try to limit traffic, try to limit circling while maintaining curb spaces open for our residents at $1 an hour, while maintaining curb spaces open for our visitors and residents with mobility issues. These are things that we are thinking about on a daily basis. And we have some amazing data that I would absolutely love the opportunity in the next meeting to bring to the committee to show how pricing can absolutely, I'll say, allow individuals to make great financial decisions. At never at one time during spring break did we shut down our garages. So therefore, outside of the private run garages that were charging $60 every 5 hours or $300 a day, our flat rate garages remained open for individuals that wanted to come here and find a reasonably economical priced location. And also on top of that, while maintaining the shuttle system from 3 of our even lower priced garages, we allowed both employees as well as anyone that parked in those garages to hop on these shuttles to bring them in the entertainment district so they could park, even if they were not residents, for the low cost of $2 an hour and ride a free shuttle into this zone. This was the epitome of a phenomenal parking and transportation ecosystem, which we are going to end up publishing a paper about in Parking Today magazine. It was incredible, and I just want to thank all of you for the opportunity to do this. And I promise you, on the next meeting, we will have the data to back up everything that occurred.
Thank you, John. Yeah, thanks. Will.
I mean, I appreciate that compliment, sir, because he's amazing, he's intelligent, so
there you
thank
go.
Will, when you get that published, please send all of us a link to the published paper.
Absolutely.
That's
no, we're going to be bringing you into it. What are you talking about? Because I can't write. But yes, absolutely.
Guys, let's just try to keep comments through the chair, because I had Commissioner Dominguez next, and I just got in trouble with Commissioner Dominguez. So, Vice Mayor Dominguez.
What do you think about taking away the double the tow pricing for next year? Because the city doesn't get that money. Legally, we can't. It just goes to the tow trucks. I'm not a fan.
So I get why we're not fans of that. I will also tell you, we worked with Senator Ileana Garcia in creating the special events zones because of the issues of vehicles that were coming into our city, creating problems. And I do think it does create a level of deterrence. That fee applies to non-residents. And I think if you're coming into the city and you're found even committing a non-criminal offense, when you're coming into the city and your car gets towed, you're subject to that. I think it deters people from coming into the city with their cars to engage in criminal activity with their cars, which is why in 2023, we looked at increasing parking rates, and later in 2024, we looked at shutting down garages because we identified that the problem was driving into our city, and we couldn't shut down causeways, obviously. And so we had to do it through parking garages. And then the other way was, you have your LPR details, you have your DUI checkpoints, but tied to that, it was a deterrent tool that I think it's been helpful. Again, residents don't get charged the double towing rate, but it does encourage people that if you're coming in with illegal substances in your car or other situations that get you pulled over, you might be subjected to this double fee.
It's also affected families that have come from out of town and will never return again. We've all seen the video and posts on social media about this, because sometimes our parking signs, and this precedes you, but they can be confusing. And a family comes from out of town and they park and they get their car towed, and it's $500 to get it back. It ruins their vacation. And if we've already taken steps to eliminate the crowd that comes here with our marketing campaign and the other activations that we have, I'm worried about that.
May I say something?
Yes.
So I will say this. In a perfect world, we will never tow a vehicle and we will never give a citation.
Right.
Now, I understand a perfect world will not exist, but what we are looking at personally within the parking department is, first and foremost, one of the things that we tried to do with our, for example, pricing on the curb versus pricing in the garages is create an abundance of availability on that curb. When you do not put drivers in a pressure cooker of a situation where they have to choose between maybe, I'll say parking in a taxi cab stand, when you have availability, you then take away those mistakes. So what I will say is our department, I'll use our purple curbs as an example that we are already rolling out now every Sunday. We have seen an 80% drop.
I just want to make sure that we're clear. Special events zone is an area designated, I believe, in coordination with the police departments. I believe those special event zones don't go into the entertainment district. I think it's limited to the Fifth Street corridor. I'm open to the conversation that you're suggesting, Commissioner Dominguez, but I cannot commit to that until I hear from our chief of police that he is okay giving away this tool, because this was something that took legislative effort, state statutes to be changed and enacted into law. And those double towing fees during spring break don't apply throughout the entire South Beach zone of a spring break or anything like that. It is a narrow, limited corridor along Fifth Street in a set perimeter to address the issues of vehicles coming in, engaging in illegal activity. And I'd like to bring up the assistant chief, because I don't know if you may have some additional context in this, and maybe we can ask the police department for when we discuss this again to bring us their recommendations about it.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Assistant Chief Morgano on behalf of the Police Department. You're absolutely correct. A special event zone by designation from state statute requires us to be able to identify a certain event or promoter that is promoting an event along a particular corridor or roadway within the city. And then if it meets the statutory requirements of that particular statute, then it can be designated a special event zone and towing fees can be doubled and things like that. But I believe there are also high-impact measures that the manager has available to them through the legislative body that they can enact during spring break that don't necessarily require the special event zone designation. And that might be something that is more flexible.
Meanwhile, it's not a law enforcement tool that the police is using. That's what I want to be careful with. Because I do know that for the police along the Fifth Street corridor and the MacArthur Causeway, that has been an important tool that you have been using. Now, unrelated to that, if it's a high-impact measure that is being implemented in other parts of the entertainment district, and that it's affecting families with confusion with signage and that type of stuff, I'm very much open to that. Yes.
That's it. Thank you,
Chief.
sir.
All right. Heather, good morning.
And I'll be very quick. Heather Shaw, Assistant Director, Economic Development. I just wanted to say that communication was key in terms of making sure that all of our business community knew everything that was going on during spring break. And we didn't do it alone for economic development. We did it with our police department, with our communications department, with the code, with the neighborhoods division to help us cascade throughout 5th to 17th Street from Ocean to Washington to make sure that all businesses knew what was going on. Part of that was talking to them, not just sending out an email, but actually having a personal touch with them, talking to the employees, sharing the information, giving them the information of where they can ask questions. I think part of deconstructing the fear is being able to have a point person and having the information at hand. In addition, we also cascaded it out to all of the hotels in the city to make sure that they also had the same understanding of where they could ask for ask questions and get answers, and to have that information ahead of time. And then lastly, through our newsletter, we do this every year. We try to ensure that all the businesses are preparing in advance for this to come, and we do the same thing for Memorial Day, so they know, let's start preparing and understanding how we're going to do staffing, how we can take advantage of the people coming into town to make additional revenue. So it was a collective, collaborative effort, and we made sure that the businesses were aware.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Heather. All right, seeing no other department here, this is a great update on the successes that we've had. I'm so grateful to every single department. I mean, everyone was working. They were out in the streets, sacrificing time with their families every single weekend till late hours at night, present, analyzing the situation, and hands-on working in improving conditions. What I would like to do is when we bring this item back next month, I want for the administration to identify what worked, what didn't work, what we need to refine for next year, which tools were most effective operationally, whether they were traffic controls, whether they were parking regulations, whether they were the unified coordination between fire and police and code. What were those most effective strategies? Where are areas where we're still, avoiding or experiencing avoidable friction? Identifying those so that we can see, okay, how can we improve? How can we improve on that? Whether it be, issues with traffic on the causeways, whether it be staff fatigue. When you have staff working so many hours, staff gets fatigued. I mean, oftentimes we take our staff for granted because they're always present and they're always smiling and they're always working, but we have to take care of our staff as well. Or quality of life issues that still spill over, identifying where we still have avoidable friction points that we can improve for next year. To the point of Commissioner Dominguez, which high impact measures were implemented that we may want to revisit? If towing was one of those high impact measures, maybe it's something that we can definitely discuss next month. I don't want to discount it if it's not related to law enforcement tool from our police, and what other recommendations the administration might have now in April while spring break is still fresh in our minds. I'm going to just share, just for the benefit of the administration, a few points that came up during my two community meetings about spring break that the residents and the businesses shared. The first one was the barricades on the side streets of Ocean Drive. And that was something that was brought up by the business community. Whether we can reconsider those or not, I leave that up to the professionals. Difficulties accessing the city, and of course, we know that the LPR details and the DUI checkpoints are important. But one of the suggestions was maybe we can consider having a bus lane when these LPR details go into effect. Because what was happening was that the buses were being delayed by over an hour. So perhaps for the next conversation, perhaps transportation department could be present for the next conversation, because it'll be good to know what we could do to better accommodate buses on the causeway. And then the other thing that I think people truly appreciated, and I got tremendous feedback on, was the shuttles. The shuttles from the garages to get people to where they need to get to their jobs. Those free shuttles, they got great feedback on it. The one thing that I got feedback about those shuttles, the public felt they were not promoted enough. And maybe it's the type of stuff, before we roll out our entire spring break marketing campaign, it's one of the things we can start promoting earlier. It's one of those things, I think it's just repetition, so that eventually the information flows to the workforce. And so maybe that's something the communication on the shuttles for the workforce, maybe it's something we can unveil earlier on so that the workforce finds out about it. But certainly got tremendous feedback and much appreciation that those free shuttles existed. And I see now our transportation department is here. So
Good
Jose,
morning, Mr.
welcome.
Chair, committee members, thank you. Yeah, I was just in that little corner over there.
Good to see you over there.
Just wanted, you mentioned the bus lanes on the causeways, absolutely a good idea. As you know, the Julia Tuttle Causeway already has a bus lane. On the MacArthur, it's a little more challenging, but we can work with FDOT to allow a temporary use of the
Temporary,
shoulders.
exactly.
A temporary use of the shoulders. There's precedent for that. We'd have to work out the details with them, but that's absolutely.
But that's for
a
the
good
next
idea.
meeting. I'm just bringing this up now for the benefit of the public and the administration, that these are things that I would love for us to consider at the next meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Make a quick comment.
Yes, please.
As we're talking about things to consider for the next meeting, so it was a real hardship for residents to get back, and having it down to one lane on the MacArthur and the Tuttle, and then the major construction happening currently on the Venetian just made it too much. Maybe for the city to let us know and evaluate if it's necessary to have the Tuttle down to one lane, or if only MacArthur.
That's fair enough, and perhaps that'll be part of the analysis, Assistant Chief, that could be brought back to the committee at the next meeting. All right, I think this was a productive conversation. Thank you to all the departments that are present, and to all the incredible employees who, again, sacrifice tremendous amount of time from their family to serve our community and make sure that we continue being the most beautiful and the most welcoming destination that we can absolutely be. Before we close this item and go back to the previous item, I'm going to open up the floor to members of the public wishing to speak on the item. I see Miami Beach with their hand raised on Zoom. Oh, no, Miami Beach put their hand down on Zoom. Johan has his hand raised on Zoom. Johan, good morning. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Good morning, one final time, I hope, for today. In light of Commissioner Dominguez's concern, I wonder if, in fact, the bus could be made free for Miami Beach residents, if that's not too bureaucratically complicated to figure out, for the spring break period. I'm most intrigued by the possibilities of a temporary spring break bus lane on the MacArthur, providing us with data that could in fact support a permanent bus lane on the MacArthur. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none Kevin? Welcome.
Kevin Kruger. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but congratulations to all. The professional producers that are coming in are fantastic, and I'm only going to advocate, and I'm already speaking with some of you in tourism department, economic development department eventually, commissioners. I'd like to help go bigger. I really think that our city of Miami Beach can own the month of March globally for sports and fitness tourism. As you've heard, I've been advocating since 2019, and I'm in exploratory phase, so I'll spare it for the face-to-face meetings with you all, but let's keep going. I think we're doing great, and the World Cup, as Monica warns us, is a great test. Good thing we have our former city manager, Alina Hudak, as host committee. We've got a lot to learn, but this city's got a lot to earn, including the branding that we've pushed for. I don't want to hear the word spring break again. I'd rather hear spring training or some other strong messaging, and I think we can do it together. So congrats and thank you.
Thank you. So with that, we can close out this item and go back to the one that we had skipped, that was Commissioner Botts.
Okay. Item number 4, discuss a farmers market pilot program at North Beach Oceanside Park. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Bott.
Thank you. And again, thank you to the chair and the vice chair and Commissioner Monica Mateos Salinas for honoring my request to flip the order. I did not anticipate it would take as long to get here as it did today, but it's another item for a future neighborhoods meeting. So, you know, we are working to become a blue zone city. This is an initiative that I've been leading since literally the weeks after my election. And one of the really amazing, unanticipated consequences of this initiative is that even before we officially launch the program, people are taking it upon themselves to start to effectuate the kinds of blue zones changes that we like to see. The reason why it's such an important thing for our city and such a no-brainer for our city is because we already have so many of the underpinnings of what a blue zone city is in place. I mean, you look at the Parks and Rec, I'm never going to get the new name right, but the Parks and Rec facilities, you know, we just opened the Bayshore Park, which is a jewel in the city, and I would argue among any municipal park in the country. And we are talking about doing the same thing for the West Lots up in North Beach, and turning that into, instead of sort of an afterthought that we're all trying to protect, an intentional planned public space with amenities that will be transformative for that neighborhood. I've got neighborhoods, the Palm Hibiscus Star Island neighborhoods have put together their own walking moai, and it's been successful. And, you know, and I hear people from the Flamingo Point complexes, buildings, that they have a farmer's market there, and a restaurateur is changing his menu to better reflect Blue Zone's eating principles. Like, people are taking it on because, as we talked about, joy being such an important part of what, bless you, what we are all craving in the world. You know, there's a recognition that taking a little better care of ourselves, not in a punitive way, but in an intentional, fun, community-based way, is really important and feels good to do, feels good to share with others, feels good to build bridges and bonds. We know from our former federal God, what is his official title? The Chief Surgeon General. Everyone knows I'm terrible with titles. The Surgeon General has published numerous medical studies about the fact that loneliness is an epidemic with far-reaching health consequences. And for a transient city like ours, that's something that we need to be mindful of. And we can bring our resources to bear. So all that preamble is to say that as part of the community engagement with the Blue Zones process, last June we had a readout of our feasibility study report. And we had several hundred people attending that event, including 3 of the people who are not staff or elected sitting in the front row here today. And a conversation was born literally in that meeting that has resulted in this presentation that you're about to see. And Cindy Casanova has been leading the charge from city staff. She continues to be remarkable. She's not allowed to retire. She should, she's absolutely fabulous. Once again, we're like, hey, Cindy, we had this little project. Do you think you could help out? She's like, sure. And it ends up being this huge undertaking. But so what we are proposing is a very intentional, curated farmers market event that happens on a regular basis, and I'm not going to steal the team's thunder in presenting it, but that is sited in a really special location that will draw from communities that are not just Miami Beach, but draw from neighboring communities, so North Bay Village, Surfside, Bal Harbor, which is good for our businesses, and a rising tide floats all boats, and will be a service to the residents. We see, in addition to all the other sort of Blue Zones things happening, we see farmers markets popping up, as I mentioned. One of them has been, sort of leading the charge in North Beach at the Carillon, and the executive chef, Chris, is here to talk about that. He's also modified his menu to reflect Blue Zone's eating principles, and I can tell you it is delicious. It doesn't feel like you're doing something good for you. It feels like you're doing something indulgent. So without further ado, I'm going to let Cindy introduce this, and then the team behind this make the presentation. And I hope you will agree with me that this is the kind of transformative, thoughtful, regular programming that we should be embracing, because it hits all of the things we're trying to build on in our community.
Okay, good morning. Chair Committee Member Cindy Casanova, Assistant Director of the Parks, Facilities, Fleet, and Beaches Department. As Commissioner Botts just so adeptly described, we have had a working group made up of renowned celebrity chef Todd English and his team, Executive Chef Chris Robertson of the Carillon Resort, who, as Commissioner Botts stated, has been curating a successful farmers market at the Carillon since November. If you haven't gone, you should check it out. It's absolutely spectacular. We've also been working with folks from Grocers Gateway Group and local farm-to-table produce vendors in visualizing and collaborating on what could be a world-class farmers market in North Beach. We looked at a couple of areas, and I think we all collectively agreed and landed on North Beach Oceanside Park being the premier home for this curated farmers market. We're looking at the space in the park in between 84th and 86th Street. This would be a pilot program that we're interested in trying out. And with us today, we have a lot of those team members who've been working collaboratively with us for close to a year on this endeavor. So I'd like to bring up Todd English and his team, and Chris. And if PJ, you could pull up the presentation, that would be super helpful too.
And I just want to introduce Rich Santalese, who's
Rich, of course.
An integral part of this team as well.
Thank you so much. Before we get started, I need to apologize to the commission. You have ample bike stands right up front. I just missed it, so unless it miraculously appeared, that's pretty good work.
We just worked that quickly. By the time you went down there, our incredible staff had them installed.
I'm impressed, and I'm not surprised because you guys have been doing an amazing job.
We are nothing if not responsive to our
That's very true.
You certainly are, Commissioner, and you guys are amazing, and
Thank you.
I'm proud to say I voted for each one of you. Of course. So, and then, and just one more thing, in deference to you, Todd English is an incredible mascot. Great with kids, adults, but kids.
It's a giant head.
I think we'd rather him in the kitchen.
No, he's pretty good in the kitchen, that's for sure.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I actually met Todd English many years ago when I worked for Cunard, and he spent like a month with our sales team and me in London, in the UK on the QM2. And the star of the ship was his restaurant.
Those are fun times. I remember it was with Edie.
I tell a funny story. well, I mean, it's not all that inaccurate. There are about 8 billion people in the world today. 9 billion of them have come up to me and told me a Todd English story. And it all ends the same way. It was the best time of my life.
It was a
Well,
good
okay,
time.
so since we're telling Todd English stories,
yes.
this
Yeah.
is,
You guys
you guys have heard this, but
Let's talk about the farmer's market.
it's-
That's the most important thing.
it is,
And what it's going to do for the city.
this crazy, I've always said I grew up and lived all over the world, and I always expected whenever I was in an airport, I would run into somebody that I knew from somewhere. It never happened. The only time it ever happened was here in Miami International, right? So Miami and Miami Beach has always been this weird, like, personal vortex for me, right? And so the first year I lived here, I won't go into all the stories, but there were a million of these incredible, weird, small world stories. So back when I was living in Boston, my now ex-husband and I when we had a very exciting opportunity to go out and splurge a little bit, we would go to Charlestown, where Olives was located.
Yeah,
And I don't know if it was your first restaurant.
That was your first one,
Your first restaurant. And there was this hotshot young chef, and Food TV was just starting. We bought the cookbook, and we would splurge once in a blue moon to go there because it was a little, it wasn't crazy expensive, but it was a little beyond our budget. And also, you could never get a reservation. It was crazy. So we ended up going when the weather sucked, because people would cancel, and we'd go early, and we would be able to sneak in. And I remember one night in particular, the snowstorm was insane, and so we were there. We practically had the restaurant to ourselves. It was very early, and my ex loves cream corn. I don't know, I can't explain it, but you had on your menu at that time a cream corn. Yeah, I don't know. Listen, we all grew up with our comfort food, right? And so
I support the divorce.
no. He's great. And listen,
Cream corn?
no, it's a comfort food. Listen, it's a comfort food. And so Todd had some kind of a variation of a snazzy cream corn, and you were so gracious. You came over and walked us through how to make it, and hung out with us, and we were just completely starstruck. And we'd gone back a few times since then and not had that kind of interaction. And then 8,000 years later, here we are.
Yeah,
It is
Kismet.
just
Small world.
amazing. It is amazing. So
So
anyhow,
tell us
So,
about this.
so yeah, so let me share a couple of things with you. So first of all, and it all be related to what I'm supposed to say. So for you guys that know me, I've been in Miami Beach for over 30 years. I was part of the small group that started Ocean Drive magazine. I was there for 16 years. It's still around today. It's a point of legacy for us. But I say that because I love the city, and I'm so involved in the city, and I've seen how it's evolved. And I got to tell you, I walk around, I'm amazed. I love the parks. Great job, Cindy, with the parks and things of that nature. It's become a joyful city for me, a more joyful city. There were times where it's a little bit, right? But I see the evolution of it. Today, I'm the Chief Growth Officer for a Healthy Longevity Clinic. We've been around for a long time. It's something that we studied. And to your point, Commissioner Bott, there is a loneliness epidemic happening. There's a crazy stat out there, Gen Zers, 80% of them eat alone. That's a disaster waiting to happen from a mental health crisis, right? So anytime that we can create community, social bonding that's easily accessible, it's not just great for the city, but it's also great for our residents, correct? And so this conversation, to your point, started a Blue Zone meeting led by amazing Commissioner Bott and Commissioner Joe Magazine. If you're watching, hi Joe, call me. So, it started there, and that's where we met Chris, who is incredible. When you hear him speak, you'll understand. So this was supposed to happen, But as she was talking passionately so about Blue Zones, Todd has traveled the world. My good friend Chef Todd English, 4 times James Beard Award winner, and who's traveled the world, and he's a connoisseur of farmers market. He actually got a little bit irritated at the Blue Zone meeting because we need a farmers market here. I said, let's talk to Commissioner Bott. And that's how the conversation started, and of course Chris chimed in. So we're here for a reason, we're here for a purpose. This is it's a source of passion for us. It comes from a place of love. So we're not looking at it from let's say, money-making opportunity, anything like that. I'm a firm believer that money is a product of good impact, serve others well, whatever follows, right? And that's exactly our ethos. So to that end, the other thing that really was encouraging that's amazing Cindy Casanova's point, it immediately, once we announced that we want to do a farmer's market, if you see our email threads, it's become a real community from people from all different walks of life that are so interested in this and want to see it happen. I'm sure many of them are watching right now. Hi and thank you. So we're excited to present this, and we look forward to getting the support and guidance that we seek from you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Chris?
Chris, you
All
want
right.
to go?
So, Chris Robertson, Executive Chef for the Carillon, Miami native, not a Miami Beach resident, but it's been my pleasure to be a part of the community for many years. My family owned a small hotel in North Beach when I was a child. I love the island, which is why I choose to work here. And what got me excited about the prospect of a farmer's market was I like to learn about food systems. I grew up in an agricultural family. We had properties, grew oranges, tobacco, corn. Food systems have changed so dramatically that this bag of tomatoes from 3 years ago is 125% more expensive. Now, it's the second highest growth besides oil in the last year. And Todd stood up at the Blue Zone meeting and he's like, we can't get good tomatoes on the island. What's going on?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I get good tomatoes.
Yeah.
These came from Homestead. I drive down to Homestead every Thursday. I got a guy. He's super nice. No pesticide, no herbicide, no fungicide. It's grown in compost. We sell them at the hotel at cost every third Sunday to our residents. It's open to the public. You don't have to pay for parking. We're open to the boardwalk. I drive down. We pick them up. We bring them in. It's for community service. So what Rich said about community service, like we're walking the talk. We opened it against a lot of people's advice. It's a small area. It's on our ocean terrace. It's hard to access. There's no frontage on the street that says farmer's market. We've grown from 125 attendees our first to over 500.
Incredible.
We expect over 700 this time. And we had a simple ethos. If you want to vend with us, you have to be a local vendor. You have to be supporting and growing in South Florida. We're not huge. There's no farms east. You can't get a tomato east. So we go west and we go south and we go north. But our ethos is seasonal, regional, and the best we can get. That's it. So that's part one. Part two is you have to have a sustainable element. So do you have good water management systems? Do you grow in a way that makes sense for the environment? Do you donate food to systems where people without access get the food? And part three, you gotta be from around here. You can't be like, well, I buy these candles in Bali and I melted some beach sand on the top and I'd love to sell them for $37. So we said we're not gonna be a bazaar first. We're not gonna be a food court first. We're a farmer's market. Our farm is two vendors. It's Farmer Mike's You Pick from Bonita Springs, and it's me personally on behalf of the Carillon. Farmer Mike's is a family-operated farm. The dad's name is Mike, the son's name is Mike. They don't use machinery to grow or harvest their plants. They plant every seed with a finger, they pick every seed with a hand, and it's a natural ecosystem. We don't take any revenue share or profit share from this farm. So we're not a traditional farmer's market. We are there exclusively to service the community, exclusively. We do not directly profit from Farmer Mike's produce sales in any way. And the community comes, some people need luggage carts to take their produce with them. It's affordable. The last part of our ethos is that they're not allowed to charge beach taxes on the food. I know what their wholesale prices are because I do business with them. I know what these cost because I bought them. And so you don't see this bag of purple Mizuna, which was grown locally, go for $15. You can't find it at a grocery store. There's no competition. We could easily charge whatever we want for it. It's $5. It's $5 for this bag. The tomatoes do not experience the same growth in pricing that we've seen in markets. So the pricing in markets comes because we have fuel charges. We have tariffs. 70% of the nation's tomatoes don't come from the nation, right? So the idea around this was how do we connect local growers to our community to drive costs for produce down for them? Because if you change the food systems, you can drive costs down. We don't have the normal number of steps for a tomato from anywhere to your plate is between 3 and 7. goes from the farm to producer to here. And our idea is bring these products to your community.
Thank you. Commissioner Bott, this is so exciting. And I think it elevates our community when you're giving them these fresh, homegrown products from our local farms. I just think, why wouldn't we want this in our community? What is the action, the motion that you're seeking from this committee today?
Support by acclamation to move it to the full commission so we can pass this and get it going.
And-
We'd like it to be ready to go for after the fall season, October, November, as soon as we can get it permitted. There's a presentation in here. Cindy, do we want to go through the presentation?
I think it's a good idea.
We can do.
We just still have a number of other items on the
Yeah,
agenda.
we can do it super fast, just so you get an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, one of the things, first of all, thank you so much and your support, and Commissioner Bott and Cindy, it's amazing. And you guys, our team has been amazing around this, and it's been great working with you for a year. But one of the things, and I go back to all of this about just what a farmer's market brings, and we're going to show you here quickly that it's a place of community. It's a place where people gather, and if you look at Blue Zones, you look at the social aspect of it, you look at the community, it all really starts from a farmer's market, which is about produce, as Chef was saying, that's grown locally, that is healthy, that is non-pesticide, that is regenerative, and all the things that we talk about that I've been working on through my whole career, which is like, hey, you need healthy food. We need to get back to this. And a big part of this is also educational too. So we're going to be doing things and actually, like, if we're in the middle of the mushroom display, I'll be, there cooking mushrooms and talking to the groups about how to cook those mushrooms and teaching kids about food. So this is sort of the layout, and it's a beautiful park, as you know. And so you can see it, we'll start, really relatively small and, and precious in a way. The fact that we'll have, I'm going to hand curate along with Chef the actual the farms that we work with to make sure that it fits all our criteria.
Next slide,
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
Next
So
slide.
let's go to the next slide.
yeah, we
Use the laptop, please.
Do we have another one?
We can flip through these
sorry.
very
Sorry.
quickly.
Oh, I'm in charge of that. Okay, sorry. You don't want me in charge of that. Okay, and again, we want it to be uniform in the sense that it feels very much designed for this particular space and very much in the style of what I feel Miami Beach represents. So we're going to keep going. Again, well laid out, well curated, people that, it's a feel-good thing. There'll be other activities in the sense that you'll be able to have cooked food there as well. But again, not overly expensive. I feel still, and my biggest thing is all my career said, food is our greatest democracy, and we have to look at it that way. We all deserve to eat equally the same and have the same nutrition around it. So keep
And
going.
that part of North Beach is such a food desert anyhow, that this will be a real bonus.
Right, and so I think it's really important, and I want to activate a lot of kid programs with this, a lot of health and wellness around it. It happens to be Wellness Week this week here in Miami, so we're doing a lot of stuff around that as well, and working with Rich on that. We'll be cooking and doing cooking demonstrations, live demos, talking to the community, and really talking about, things that it's shocking that people are not, still, educated. And, and if you get me on my soapbox, I would say, well, why would you go to fast food and spend, $10 or $12 on two burgers that are nothing and worthless, and and a thing of French fries and a large Coke, when you can go to a farmer's market and get the same thing and teach your kids how to eat and be healthy. And that's a big part of what I'm all about. Let's educate the next generation. I love the idea of the mascot. We can make that maybe a big orange or something, a food bird, health and wellness, that really is about that. I did something years ago around that. So I think it's a great thing. And
Thank you, Mr. Todd. I want to thank you and the entire team for bringing this item forward. Commissioner Bond, what great vision, not only to have a farmer's market, but doing it with such an award-winning, world-renowned chef like Mr. English. Thank you for joining us. I'd like for the committee to entertain a motion to support the farmers market every other Sunday, maintaining those accessible pricing, but including the diversity of selection of seasonal fruits and vegetables from our locally sourced farms, and together with the family-friendly interactive activations, so this really becomes a true community activity. And I'd love the committee to entertain that motion.
Yes, I'd like to make that motion. This is a great idea, and I look forward to being there and shopping at the farmers market, and thank you.
Is there a
I will
second
dress
on
up
the
as a
motion?
mascot and come to your farmers market, so thank
The
you.
item's been moved and second.
She already volunteered.
The item's been
I'll do
moved
it
and
once it's
second. Are there members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing no members of the public attending in person wishing to speak on this item and none via Zoom, we can show this transmitted back to the full city commission with a positive recommendation by acclamation.
Thank you,
Thank you,
colleagues.
guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
You. All right, next item.
Our next item is 6, incentivizing grocery and food vendors expansion in North Beach. This item was sponsored by Vice Mayor Dominguez and co-sponsored by Commissioner Fernandez.
Vice Mayor Dominguez, this is your item.
So one of my aides lives up in North Beach, and when we were coming up looking for items that would help and benefit North Beach, this is what came up. And in conversations with the city administration, Heather, it looks like we may be getting stuff in the next couple years, and I'll let Heather explain it, and then we can close out this item.
Is it afternoon yet? Oh, it's still morning. Oh, good morning again. Heather Shaw, Assistant Director, Economic Development. How auspicious to go after the market, because North Beach.
Exciting stuff happening in North Beach.
This is very, very auspicious, yes, definitely. The North Beach neighborhood has a limited access to a variety of healthy and affordable food. We all know that, and that's something that's very, very important. So one of the things that the Vice Mayor had asked us to look into are ways to incentivize more food options for the area, and how we could do that. There are a number of ways that we explored, including the farmers market, which is definitely an option to have in the area of North Beach, and then also it is also the North Beach CRA, which can work to build programs and policies to encourage businesses, food businesses, to move into the area. We looked at some of the existing incentives that with state programs and federal programs. A number of them don't really apply to us. Either we're not within those zones or within the realm of their requirements, or we don't have residents that actually qualify for some of the programs, or businesses that would qualify for those programs. We looked into some green carts and mobile carts. As you know, right now we don't. I'm sorry. Did you want
Just for the benefit of time, because and I think the Vice Mayor was alluding to this, and it's in our staff analysis that since the original referral of this discussion item, there have been notable developments that have emerged that present new opportunities to improve access to healthy, affordable food options in North Beach?
So yes, we are aware of an interest of a grocery store potentially coming to the North Beach area, which we're very excited about. I can't really disclose any more information. We're going to leave it to them as they are working out the details. We are very excited.
Is there a lease signed?
I believe there is. Again,
Great news.
all the details I want to leave with them, but it is very exciting to be able to have that interest in the North Beach area.
Because right now, there's only one full-service grocery store.
Exactly.
And in fact, if this private deal goes through between a grocery store and a private property owner, we might be, in essence, addressing the concern that this item was seeking to address.
Right, and then we'll have it in 2 years.
And with the way that I believe that it's on course, this should be within 2 years, yes.
Amazing.
Vice Mayor. But
Thank
one of
you.
the things, and if you indulge me, Commissioner, is it's also having a large grocery store would be wonderful, but also we want to, within the CRA, also encourage smaller grocery stores. So just like we're talking about the fresh market, that of the produce market coming in, but also to encourage them to have, to bring more businesses that are like that, because one grocery store is great, but also having something that's even within walking distance to support those types of things, to think of a variety of food options for the area. And so that's something that we're committed to continue to do through the CRA and through economic development.
I love when you go to certain urban communities that they'll have, you know, just how you have food carts or food trucks. Some communities have, you know, neighborhood food carts where they bring in fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, so you don't have to go all the way to your grocery store. It's more centralized in the community.
And that's something we still want to focus on, to make sure that we have fresh produce markets, fresh other markets that could come in, that can be sustainable, that are walking distance and neighborhood and friendly.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you very much.
Much
Commissioner.
appreciated. And Commissioner Dominguez, can we show this item as closed?
Yes.
Wonderful. So we'll show this item closed. The next item.
The next item is a discussion about proposed Normandy Owl neighborhood entrance sign at the Normandy Fountain on the western end of Normandy Drive, 71st Street. This item was sponsored by Vice Mayor Dominguez.
Madam Vice Mayor, you're welcome to introduce your item.
Thank you. So I've been working closely with the Normandy Neighborhood Association on a variety of items, and that includes Laura Vaitia, Rabbi Hadar, and Howard Chase, and Jill, Patty Hanau, all sorts of requests and different things. This is one of the initiatives that they brought forward, and working with the City Attorney's Office and David Gomez and the Neighborhood Association, we've come up with some items. So David, if you'd like to take it away.
Good morning, David Gomez, Director of Capital Improvements.
Good morning, David.
This initiative was brought forward by a group of residents in North Beach, and they had originally proposed 2 locations, one of which is the location for a soon upcoming Miami, Welcome to Miami Beach entrance sign. It's an iconic sign that the commission approved a while back. Kind of happy to announce that we received bids yesterday, and hopefully you will hear more about that when we bring it to award in May at the commission meeting. They did provide recently some revised renderings, which are attached to the memo. My only concern with their proposed rendering is it appears that the location is within FDOT right-of-way. FDOT has historically been very reluctant to approve any monument signs within DOT right-of-way, primarily for safety concerns.
Right.
Which is why we had suggested an alternative of using neighborhood signage similar to what we used here across the street and some other places that have received favorable responses.
I love that idea because I think, Madam Vice Mayor, it's great to have neighborhood identity. I think that creates pride, a sense of place, a sense of purpose. And these are special neighborhoods. And each one of our neighborhoods have their own unique character, much like when you go into Palm View, where we have a beautiful sign for Palm View. We're working on one, I believe it's for the Nautilus neighborhood. We're working on one there. I'm all for creating neighborhood identity. You know, one of the questions I had was whether, you know, sideline and traffic safety impacts have been analyzed, especially near the fountain and at the western approach of Normandy and 71st Street. But I think you just mentioned that at Normandy and 71st Street, that western approach, there's already a welcome sign that's going there.
It's upcoming, yes.
It's upcoming. So what I would like, I'm happy to support signage for Normandy Isle. I would like it to stay consistent with the city's branding and signage for other neighborhoods. I don't want to introduce a new concept of signage for one neighborhood because then we're going to lose consistency. But, you know, providing the community with what they want, because I do think that creates pride. And it's also good for people who are driving through the area and they don't know which neighborhood they're in, but staying consistent with what we've done for other areas.
Are any neighborhood association folks on there to speak on this item?
There's no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to move this to the full commission for a vote there.
Okay. What would be your motion?
To have the signs and,
Do we want to ask staff to put together a concept of a sign? It might not, from my perspective, I saw the sign that was produced, that's presented with the agenda. It certainly is a very elegant, and it feels like a monument sign, a very elegant monument sign. I have concerns, again, as I mentioned, about, sideline and traffic safety impacts, but maybe having staff work with you on a design that might be more consistent with the signage that we have for other neighborhoods as well, so that we can then
like on the
take that to
Venetian, we
commission.
have something like this saying, "Welcome to Miami Beach" when you're driving east. It's on the south side, right when it starts. I think this is beautiful.
Colleagues?
I support the sign. I don't know if I'm entirely sold on the sign, but I'm kind of indifferent. I mean, if that's what the neighborhood wants, then I respect that. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe another design. But I am overly indifferent. I want to defer to the neighbors in the neighborhood.
Okay, so we'll move it to the full commission. In the meantime, David and I will work with Normandy Sud and come up with some options for the commissioners to decide on.
Along with the neighborhood, because if they are dead set on this, then I'm
Right.
okay with that, but.
Okay, all right. And my feedback would be, just my only feedback is, one thing is the monument signs that we have entering the city. At that point, you're entering the city, and that should truly be a monument sign that says, "Welcome to Miami Beach." But I think as you're entering into neighborhoods, that's a different type of signage. And I just want to make sure that we have consistency, because then what's going to happen is, another neighborhood, Biscayne Point is going to want their signage, because, they're a special neighborhood as well. And then Bayshore is gonna want their own, and, it starts, so
They can.
just a certain consistency on the signage. That's my only suggestion. But happy to support, and we can send back to commission, with no members of the public present to speak, by acclamation.
Okay.
Next item.
Next item is discuss what initiatives the City of Miami Beach is taking in order to become more festive for national global events such as the College Football CFB Championship game taking place in January 2026. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Magazine.
Okay. Is Commissioner Magazine online to present on his item?
I do not see him online right now. No.
Okay, who will be presenting the item?
Good afternoon, this is Abrante, Director of Tourism and Culture. I'm happy to kick it off. However, just like the spring break item, it takes a village, or the city-wide efforts in making us festive and clean and ready for all the events that we've had in this year of sports. In the memo before you, the request is to see what is the city doing to be more festive and clean. We've had many events already starting in January, the month of March, April. We're hosting the first ever for Formula One Grand Prix, and then we're also going to have a Memorial Day weekend and the FIFA activations in June and July. And I think before you can see what each department is doing as far as tourism and culture, we are excited to show in the spirit of being festive and the intersection of arts and soccer. We are in talks right now with visual artists to show a new media work of art at Soundscape Park, and we're going to have the director of the Perez Museum curator do a chat with the artists. We're really thrilled to show that. This work has been exhibited at the Perez Museum of Art and also at the FIFA Museum, and it's a 9-minute video of soccer and soccer fans, so we're really excited to do that. I'm happy to then defer to my other colleagues in marketing communications and economic development to see what in public works and to see what the other efforts are for the city.
Welcome back, Heather.
Thank you again. Heather Shaw, Assistant Director, Economic Development. What we're trying to do for economic development is really build capacity of our businesses so they can handle these large special events that are coming to town. So what we're doing is not doing it at the last minute, but actually trying to back out of it to make sure that they have all their permits, that any of their ideas that they want to do, that they can be prepared for that. We are also working to bring all of the business improvement districts and the neighborhood business associations together so they can also collaborate and leverage each other's knowledge and capacity so they can have citywide events or area events, or also to help the businesses that are in those districts. We're also going to expand the business concierge program so it could be very specific, so when they're coming and they want to be prepared for these special events that are coming to town, that they can sit down with us and we can make sure that they are actually prepared and for their staffing and all the permits that they have. And then we are obviously, as I mentioned before, we work in a collaborative effort with our colleagues to make sure that businesses are aware through communications and promotion and marketing, and working with the communications and marketing department to make sure that they have all the information that they need to be prepared. So really it's about preparing them for success.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have we had a business town hall about the activities that are coming forward, whether it be, Formula One, FIFA, just getting everyone together, making sure that they understand the excitement and the opportunity that's coming their way, and, giving them the best shot that they can to capitalize on it?
We haven't had a business town hall meeting, but we have kind of deconstructed it. And so we are working through our associations, through the business improvement districts, through the neighborhood associations, through our newsletter, to make sure, and we started this already, definitely for FIFA, to make sure that they're prepared and they have all the information that they need. And it's something that's not like a one-off like we did it a month ago. We're doing it every single month to make sure that they're aware. But we haven't had
I'd just be mindful that
But that's a good idea.
not all businesses are within a business improvement district.
True, this is true.
So I just be mindful of that. Or even if they are within the areas of a business improvement district, they might not necessarily be in communication. The property owner might be, but not necessarily the tenant that's operating the business.
We also do canvassing. We canvass each area every week. We go to a different neighborhood and just talk to the employees that are there, if the business owner is there, to tell them what's going on. And we try to also enhance our newsletter, so that's an email thing. And then we also are working with the hotels to make sure that the hotels are also ready. But we try to kind of cast a wide net to touch all the businesses.
Are we partnering at all with the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, yes.
Okay, what are we doing with the chamber? Because to me, I think we have a lot of resources, but I just want to make sure that the businesses are fully aware of the resources, and that we help elevate this as much as we can. So what are we doing with the chamber?
So all the information that we have that we share about preparing for these events coming up, we also share those with the chamber so they can cascade it out to their membership as well. I'm not aware of anything special that the chamber is going on. Doesn't mean it isn't. I'm just not aware of it right now. But I'm sure that they're going to be.
You're not aware of what? I'm sorry.
If the chamber is doing something special, like doing a business town hall or not, that I'm not aware of. But I do know that they share the information that we give them about how to prepare, that they cascade that out to their members. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Heather. I really appreciate the outreach that you're doing to the businesses, and good point that not all of the businesses are a part of a bid or a business group, or they're just not aware. And it's super important, because I think I've mentioned to you before that the businesses who don't know, usually they cut staff in the summer drastically because summer is slow, and this year our businesses are going to suffer if they are not aware and they continue to do that. So I don't know if folks know the magnitude of what's coming for FIFA. So I appreciate what you're doing. And I also want to mention that that's a great suggestion about doing a town hall, and I'd like to, maybe we could partner and do something with the chamber together and really make sure we're reaching the businesses who are not connected and who think that there's not going to be a huge impact coming. Bless you. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Hi, I'll pop in for a quick second.
Yes.
Hi,
Good morning
again. Melissa Bertier, Director of Marketing Communications. Hopefully you all loved the 17th Street Garage Wrap. That was an ode
Amazing.
to all of the sports activations that are happening. But I'm super excited about these 48 soccer balls that we are going to, inflatable 15-foot soccer balls that are going to each represent a specific country. There are 48 teams, which is the largest FIFA World Cup tournament that we've ever seen. So sorry, I ran here, so I'm out of breath. So super excited that will be coming online in the beginning of June.
Amazing. Awesome.
And Melissa, could you talk a little bit about your activations that you're going to have?
The soccer balls? Or
Yes.
Yes. So they're going to be all around the city. So from North Beach, South Beach, Mid Beach, in parks, on Lincoln Road, Espanola Way. And so we are now determining exactly the locations, working with all of our colleagues in parks, in facilities, tourism and culture. And it's kind of just an Instagrammable moment that people can check off their list, not only supporting their teams and standing in front of their, whoever they're supporting, but also other teams.
And how big are the soccer balls, Melissa?
They're 15 feet.
Oh, wow.
And the base is actually a foot and change, so they're inflatable.
Let me ask you something. How can we leverage our communication assets to help promote what our businesses are programming? Because I just want to make sure, this is a special opportunity for our businesses. And also for our residents who better know what our businesses are offering. And I think we could be such a great conduit for it, because not every small business throughout our city has the marketing resources to do that, to amplify the message. And I think it's almost kind of like with spring break, with spring break, we set the tone for the city. I think it's kind of like doing the same thing with these opportunities that we're going to have, especially with FIFA, to help, have a consolidated website, consolidated portal. Maybe it's a special social media account.
So we are going to have a specialized website. It's going to be miamibeachfl.gov/World Cup, and I would love to share if any business is going to have a free unofficial watch party that is free and open to the public. I would love to post that there, because if you're looking to see, where can I see Germany play, I want anyone, whether they're a resident or they're a visitor, to be able to go on our website and see, where they can watch these games.
And I'd love for us to also to promote it, in our emails and that type of stuff. Because it's a public service, businesses are our constituents as well. And a lot of times our residents don't find out about some pretty amazing, number one, pretty amazing businesses that we have in the city. Oftentimes they don't find out about it. It's like the other day I was on Washington Avenue and I parked somewhere and I saw a thrift store, cool little thrift store on Washington Avenue, and I called my aide, Kara, who loves to thrift, and it's like, oh my God, Kara, did you know about this cool little thrift store?
I know that store, yes.
You know that store?
Yes.
And it's like, oh my God, this is like a locally certified thrift store that I bet you most residents don't know that's there.
And all of our inflatable soccer balls, the base will have our logo, and it also will include the link to that website and a QR code, so people can go and, hopefully explore. But it is very World Cup specific. But we do have the Find Your Vibe directory, so hopefully people are using that and leveraging that to find.
Well, I think we need to create more awareness. So we have this great products, marketing collaterals that we've put together. We need to figure out how do we put this more in front, especially of our residents, so that they can use it better.
And we can use that, put that directory onto the World Cup specific page.
Yes.
So people can look at, all of our, whether it's retail or whether it's restaurants.
Okay. So our businesses can provide you with information of their activations.
So the plan is I'm going to work with our economic development department. Yes, Heather's raising her hand. To request from businesses what they would like, so we can help amplify their events or their promotions.
And I think we should be putting a campaign out like right now, like a campaign leading to that on social media and our emails. Hey, you know, much excitement about World Cup coming to Miami Beach. You know, share your plans with us, share the energy, share the excitement. Let's all be Team FIFA ready for the games. I don't know. But so that we encourage.
So we've started developing
the
some of that.
businesses.
You know, we say 48 nations, one shared passion, and explore where the world comes to play, which is Miami Beach. So then it says miamibeachfl.gov/World Cup. So we are starting to develop that collateral. We had to get through spring break.
Yeah, of course.
But
Very important.
we will be working with economic development to help reach those businesses to get their information so we can start pushing that out as soon as possible because it really
Amazing.
is the
Amazing.
largest event in the world.
Let me, since we're on this subject, viewing parties. Well, I know they're unofficial viewing parties. What are businesses like on Lincoln Road and Ocean Drive and, you know, businesses throughout our city? What are they allowed and not allowed to do as it relates to viewing parties?
Thank you, sir. So we have been in communications with the Lincoln Road Bid and Ocean Drive Association. So as long as the restaurant has the TV and viewing inside and it's not more than 1,000 people, they're not promoting it, they're able to show it just like anyone else. You know, if you have a TV and you're watching the games at home.
So, okay, inside. You know, the majority of these restaurants on Lincoln Road, they're not big enough to host inside, even on Ocean Drive and some of our major corridors. What is being done to be able to accommodate these establishments? You're having you know, brunch on Lincoln Road on Sunday, and you want to be watching the game. What can be done to facilitate that?
We have already established communications with Lincoln Road and the Miami FIFA Host Committee, so they are in communications on how to address those. And so I don't have the full details, but as far as what I mentioned already, with that they can show it within their restaurant, and as long as it's under 1,000 folks, it should be fine.
So FIFA is the one that has to approve for them to be able to show it inside the
If
restaurants?
it's going to be, no, if it's going to be outside on the proper road, they're going to promote it and have, you know, a larger crowd, then it does need to get some licensing approvals and they have to pay.
But if it's within the concession area?
Of the establishment, it's fine.
If it's within the concession area of the establishment?
Yes.
On Lincoln Road?
Yes, and they've been working with the host committee. And
They
this
can, they're allowed to have a TV screen and be able to have the game so that people can watch the game?
Correct.
Okay. Do they need any special permits for that?
At this time, right now, no. I don't think we've received any requests for anything bigger than that,
Bigger than,
than what they would already hold within their establishment.
okay. So I just want to make sure I'm understanding well. So on Lincoln Road, within the concession areas that each business has, let's just say Spree. And I'm just going to use Spree as an example because we like Spree. Spree, you're there Saturday and you wanna watch, I don't know, one of the FIFA games, the July 11th quarterfinals. And I only say that because July 11th is my birthday. So
Everybody write it down.
So we want to be on Lincoln Road on July 11th watching the quarterfinals of FIFA, and we're at Spree sitting outside. Spree would be allowed to have within their concession area a screen outside where their guests are able to watch the game.
Hello.
Hi.
Christina Baguer, Chief of Staff. Hi. Sorry I wasn't here earlier. Yes, they are allowed, as long as it's within their perimeter, their thing, and they're doing it for their customers. Obviously.
But within their perimeter of the concession, even though it's public
Correct.
property, even though it's Lincoln Road, I just want to have clarity, because I'm sure we're all going to be sharing this information because it's very important for our business constituents. It doesn't have to be private property. It can still be on the public right-of-way, but meanwhile, it's within their concession area.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I've already had conversations with Annabelle for Lincoln Road. I've had conversations with Ceci for ODA. So we are working on that.
And when they do that, are there any public safety requirements? Are the businesses having to pay for cops, for off-duty? Or that's just, we just realize it's FIFA and people are going to want to watch the game, and so we're going to let them have the TVs?
As long as it's part of their sidewalk cafe permit, then no, they don't have to do anything that they don't normally do when they have the people outside on the sidewalk.
Okay, do they need to, since we no longer have sidewalk cafe permits, since we now have concession agreements, does it require any amendment to the concession agreements?
Commissioner, yes, I think that the concession agreement right now does not allow an establishment to play a TV outside.
Okay, so that's where, so I want to make sure, because I don't want our business community to find themselves in, in a bad situation that then they're trying to activate during FIFA, and then they're getting a violation because their concession agreement doesn't allow it. So
No, I'm sorry, Commissioner, didn't want to jump in, but the city manager is well aware, and we will be allowing it during the FIFA time.
okay, does the city manager have authority to amend the concession agreement? Do we need to do a temporary amendment to it? Because what if people start to complain? Let's say someone a competitor starts to complain. They didn't prepare and all that, and now they're upset that they're not doing it. And we know how that can be. And they call code, and code says, "Oh, the concession agreement didn't allow this. I didn't know that I could do this." So what happens in a situation like that?
Well, the city manager is in charge of enforcement of the concession agreement, so there's a variety of ways that you can do that. If he is going to allow concessions to have outside sound and TVs during that specified period, maybe he could let all of the restaurants know that will be available to them, even though it typically is not. You could also do some kind of formal amendment to the concession agreement if you really wanted to
I want to
make that
remove the
clear.
subjectivity from it, because I want to make sure that businesses are given the sufficient clarity and objectivity and comfort to know, okay, the city is trying to help us. Not only are they doing promotions to promote our activities, but facilitating within our sidewalk cafe area, our concession agreement area, to legally allow us to engage in this activity. And I think that that's important, because I think you would want to probably bake into that, Rob, certain controls to avoid abuses, to avoid people, over congregating people or creating too much noise and that type of stuff. And so to the extent that it might be good to have something a little bit perhaps more formalized to the unique nuances of this situation might be good. That way, colleagues, we avoid any potential splinters that could happen with this.
If I may, we want nothing to trip us up, no splinters on bare feet on sand, nothing like that. So I like the direction this is going. I want to make sure this is included to North Beach, where we have a naturally occurring preponderance of soccer fans, so that, and small businesses who may not be connected. So through the CRA, through Normandy Fountain Business Association, all the businesses along Collins who will get the spillover from events happening at the band shell. Like, we need to make sure we've got very robust community outreach. And Melissa, just to go back to the giant inflatable soccer balls, which I just love. I caught something, but I don't think I understood the entirety of it. How are fans going to know where to find their country's soccer ball?
So that'll be listed on our website.
So how can the odds of somebody who's coming in from another country whose English may or may not be great, finding our website is not super, super, super high. Hopefully it's higher than I expect. Can we do something where we do like a 5x7 card of useful information that we distribute to the concierges at hotels?
Yeah, we definitely can do that.
Okay,
And
so
we hope it'll go, viral on social, and it'll be really fabulous.
sure,
And,
for sure,
But yes,
but-
that's a great idea, that
yeah,
we can
so-
distribute something to the hotels.
Yeah, so I don't know if that needs to be incorporated as a new project, or we can just do it
No, we can just do it.
administratively. Okay.
Can we also have, Melissa, on the soccer ball, like a QR code that you can scan and it'll pop up the,
That's
okay, good.
already on
It's already
there.
in there,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, that's already
Love
on
it,
there,
love
yep.
it.
So I want to go back to you, Rob. An amendment to the concession agreement to make sure that our businesses can capitalize on the FIFA games that start, I believe, when is it, June 15th? Is it?
So the kickoff is June
11th.
11th, is
June
the first
11th.
game, which is Mexico versus South Africa, taking place in Mexico.
Okay.
But that's the kickoff of the
That's a
World Cup.
kickoff. So, Rob, in order to have the policies in place in time so the businesses can capitalize on this, when would we need to bring an item to commission to amend the concession agreement with this temporary framework? And would that be an ordinance or resolution?
It would be a resolution and it would be May.
May, okay. All right, so yeah, I'd like for us to work on that unless, would the administration have any hesitation on that?
No, the manager is well on board, and we've already been telling the bids and the association, so we're 100% on board.
Okay, great. Commissioner
One
Bond.
more thought, maybe Melissa, you and Jose can, and Misha can coordinate on getting a QR code into the City Bikes app and onto their baskets, so that because we know a lot of tourists rent the City Bikes to get around town. So if you're here for something as simple as, if you're here for World Cup FIFA, click here or scan here, and then takes us to the website.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Let me ask you, does that require any amendments to allow, the amendment to the concession agreement, does it require any amendment to like outdoor entertainment, temporary amendment to outdoor entertainment or anything like that?
Well, I have to look at the agreement. I haven't looked at it in a while, but my understanding is there is a prohibition on outside speakers.
Right.
And so.
But
I think that's-
independent of the agreement, overarching the agreement is our ordinances.
Right.
And so I guess my question is, to the extent that an establishment may have a TV inside playing the game, or may have a TV within the outside concession agreement area, do we need to amend the overarching policies that relate to entertainment, live entertainment, to allow during this narrow period of time these displays?
I would need to check with our land use attorneys on whether the land use regulations would need to be impacted at all. I don't think so, but we would need to look into that.
Okay, that'd be great, and I appreciate if you could please circle back to me on this. Great. Awesome. As it relates to traffic management and parking, walk me through, because I would imagine there's going to be a lot of excitement. We have a number of matches taking place in our area in Hard Rock. I think it's 7 matches taking place in Hard Rock. So I can only imagine, tied to that, there'll be a lot of tourism coming in naturally. That's going to be staying in our hotels, but then there's also going to be a lot of people just wanting to come to the beach and enjoy. What are we doing in terms of transportation management, traffic management, parking controls, shuttles? What type of coordination are we doing?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members, Jose Gonzalez, Transportation and Mobility Director. So the Miami-Dade County, specifically the Department of Transportation and Public Works, is really taking the lead from a countywide perspective in terms of providing specialized transit services, shuttle services to and from the stadium, different metro rail stations, different transit hubs throughout the county. So we've been part of those, their monthly discussions spearheaded by the county mayor's office. But it's really a regional approach, if you will, not so much a city-focused approach. From our perspective, what I can say is that we'll continue to do what we do at every major event, whether it's, Art Week or Super Bowl, which is our traffic management, our active traffic management. We have enhanced staffing. We provide monitoring for enhanced hours, additional hours. And we deploy special event signal timing plans along major thoroughfares, depending on whether the traffic is coming in or exiting the beach.
Okay. But
Some
let me
of the
just ask you
strategy-
something,
those are some of the
because
strategies.
I understand that for, transit management, they're, the regional government, of course, Miami-Dade County will take the lead when it comes to transit services and getting people to and from the stadium and that type of stuff. But, you have an influx of tourism. I need to know what specific measures we're going to be taking. Like, for example, last year, there was a soccer game and, they won the game. And all of a sudden you have an overcrowding of people that take over the streets in North Beach. That happens. That's something that happens. That affects traffic. You have I'm sure, do we have any metrics on our hotels, on their occupancy, reservations for the month of June? Do we have any information on that yet? Or projected?
Occupancy.
No, I don't at this moment, but I'll get that for you.
But I can only imagine, there's gonna be high occupancy levels in our hotels during the month of June, much like, Art Basel, or probably even more. I mean, this is a worldwide event. And so I just want to make sure that, we do more and that we're ready to do more than what we usually do. And I think Commissioner Mateo Salinas has been very clear that I think, we might underestimate because we've never had an event like this before in our community. And it's better to over-prepare than to be underprepared. So I just want to make sure, because with traffic, fortunately it's in the summer, so our traffic dies down in the summer, but with such a large influx of people, I just want to make sure that we're not just prepared as it relates to traffic, that we are over-prepared for it, because if not, we all know our cell phones are going to blow up, the mayor's cell phone is going to blow up, the group chats are going to, all be telling us, oh, we didn't prepare for it. No, I want us to be over-prepared. Over-prepared, and that means we need to have extra traffic safety specialists on a temporary basis. I don't know if that's something that we should consider. I don't know, school board, and I mentioned this last time, school board police. Do we want to consider maybe speaking with the school board, because the school board is out during summer, and that type of stuff, to seek their support in order to help manage traffic. I just want us to make sure that we are thinking outside the box for the unexpected, because I think that that's the magnitude of crowds that we should be anticipating for the unexpected, and go above and beyond what we would normally do, even for a period like Art Basel.
Commissioner, if I may. So we started to meet as a team in-house with all the departments that you've mentioned already. We also are meeting with the FIFA host committee starting last month to put all these things into place. I can tell you, as far as police, the county has already let us know that they will not be able to give us not one officer.
I'm sorry?
The county will not be able to give us not even one officer.
Yeah, but that's
Time-
Miami-Dade County, but I was referring
Only
to
the-
Dade County Public Schools.
Public schools, that we already have reached out, and we will be able to use that.
We will.
Yes.
Okay, that's
I heard
great
that from
news.
Chief Jones himself.
That's great news. But I just want us to be ready, prepared and over-prepared. Over-prepared for, what we won't even be anticipating for. Any other comments as it relates to FIFA and Formula One preparations? Sir, Mr. John Norris.
John Norris, Public Works Director. So a couple things related to traffic. We will be implementing a construction moratorium in the entertainment district in particular to make sure there are no unnecessary lane closures. In addition, city projects will minimize closure during that time. We'll also be looking at all right-of-way permits that have been pulled to make sure final restorations are complete if they can be prior to FIFA. We are in the process of resurfacing and doing concrete repairs on 17th Street. We had a meeting with the contractor this morning to ensure that will be completed by the start of FIFA. It's a huge project to undertake, so you will be seeing some traffic disruptions leading up to that, but it'll be completely resurfaced and new curb and gutter in some areas from Washington to Alton in the next 6 weeks or so. Good. Thank you.
Thank you, and that construction moratorium is very important. Assistant Chief Margallo, is there any resource or support that the police department needs from the city commission that we need to be discussing now?
Mr. Commissioner and the committee, Assistant Chief Margallo again on behalf of the police department. We are extremely grateful for the level of support that we have from the commission and from the city. At this time, under Chief Jones's leadership, we're meeting weekly internally in the police department to go over everything and anything related to FIFA to make sure that we are prepared for all eventualities, including working with DEM and doing tabletop exercises to simulate a hurricane hitting us in the middle of FIFA. So we're going above and beyond to make sure we're prepared for all potentialities during FIFA. We're communicating with our public safety partners throughout Miami-Dade County to include all the municipal departments. As was mentioned, Miami-Dade Sheriff's is going to be tied up at the stadium. And we're not just looking at the 7 individual game days or the day that we're hosting a concert here. We're looking at that entire 40-day period, because depending on what teams are playing and where, if we have a strong level of fan support here locally for one of those national teams, we could see increased crowds in our city or pep rally. So we're prepared for all of it.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, and I don't want you or the city manager's office to be put in a position where you're being asked to divulge more details than what you can reveal in public. But what I will say is that as the elected body of the city, we do have a responsibility to the public who has placed their trust in us to make sure that we have the highest level of preparation and coordination. And we place that trust that the public place in us, we place in you guys. I want each one of the members of the city commission, the mayor and each one of the members of the city commission to have a full briefing individually of what's being done to prepare, because ultimately if something goes wrong, it falls on us. We're the ones that respond to the public. And so I just want to make sure that each one of the elected officials, because this is a significant event, we've had nothing like it. It is, they say, how much bigger is it than a Super Bowl?
Well, it's like,
Huh?
it's
No.
like 103 Super Bowls. Every day's a Super Bowl.
Exactly. And so it is much bigger than a Super Bowl. And so I want to make sure, like stuff that you mentioned, here, Assistant Chief, that each one of the members of the city commission have a full briefing on everything that is being done to make sure that our city is in the best of positions. And I understand that a lot of times that might mean stuff that we might not be able to say publicly from a podium, but as the elected officials, we owe it to the public to make sure that we're going above and beyond. Commissioner Mateo Salinas.
I just wanted to add that not only is it bigger than the Super Bowl, but it's actually 7 Super Bowls over the course of a month. So we're really in for interesting things, especially when it comes to the quarterfinal and the bronze final matches. And so we just have to really have all hands on deck, as everyone is getting there and preparing. So I appreciate that. And a lot of good comments by Commissioner Fernandez here too. And I would appreciate a briefing as well. So thank you.
Yeah, I want every member of the commission, all of you are doing important stuff, but we don't know that.
Commissioner, if I have a moment. Yes, absolutely. I will spearhead it and make sure that everyone that's in part of our internal committee meets with all of you together as one team so that you see everything we're doing. But I do want you to know that we are taking this very seriously.
No, I know. There's no doubt about that.
The manager has told us to get together and put our best foot forward as well. I think that's one of your agenda items. And we're doing so, but we will schedule those meetings.
Yes, thank you. All right, anything else as it relates to this item? Are there members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none in person and none on Zoom, we'll continue this item to next month, and we're going to work
on a number of marketing-related initiatives to support our local businesses, reaching out to them, asking them to let us know what they're doing, and also to promote what they're doing. And we're going to work on legislation to amend the concession agreements to allow for the temporary TVs for broadcast.
We're going to analyze what we have and what we need and come back to you with some suggestions.
Well, not come back to committee because we would need to
Right.
take this to commission in May.
Got it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. With that, let's go to the next item.
The next item is item number 10, discussion on reviving employee shuttle program and other transportation solutions for the Fontainebleau Hotel staff. This item was sponsored by Vice Mayor Dominguez.
Madam Vice Mayor, this is your item. You're recognized.
Thank you. So I think I alluded to it earlier on another item. I met with the HR department of the Fontainebleau and also had conversations with the transportation department. Fontainebleau is our second largest employer and they have a lot of employees. And way back when, they had an initiative where they would shuttle employees in, and I'm trying to get that revived. Transportation team has been doing an amazing job to get this done, and I think they're just about ready to launch. So what I would want to hear is just briefly launch dates, and then bring this back in July after the launch to hear how it's going.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Mayor. Happy to report that as a direct result of your stewardship on this item, the Fontainebleau Hotel has executed a contract with Commute with Enterprise. Commute with Enterprise is one of the services under the South Florida Commuter Services Program that helps major employers create van pools, and there are different types of programs for employees to join and reduce the single occupant vehicle use. So they've executed a contract. They're in the process of formulating their own program, if you will, based on the number of employees, the type of vehicle. The South Florida, actually, the program is subsidized by two agencies, by Miami-Dade County and by the South Florida Commuter Services. Miami-Dade County contributes a subsidy of $500 a month toward the rental of the vehicle that they ultimately will select as part of their van pool. And the remainder is subsidized by South Florida Commuter Services for a period of 3 to 6 months. Once that 3 to 6 month period is over, then the employer, in this case, Fontainebleau Hotel, would kick in with a subsidy.
This is
So
such exciting work,
it
and
is.
Commissioner Dominguez, I want to congratulate you for implementing this employer-supported van pool program for that. Hopefully, through this coordinated approach, we get to reduce those single occupancy vehicles that contribute to traffic congestion. Commendations to you. You want to see this item come back in July?
Please, and quick question, if you would announce when the launch date is
They
expected?
don't have one yet.
Okay. Then
Fontainebleau
let's
is
come
still
back
in
in
the
July, you
process.
and I will huddle to try to get that locked down.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
We can see this, we can show this item continued to July. Next item.
The next item is discuss using portion of the log cabin for community pantry. This item was sponsored by Vice Mayor Dominguez.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you. So having participated in several food distributions, particularly in North Beach, I've seen how many individuals, families, including seniors in our community are experiencing food insecurity. And it's thanks to many volunteers and some of the churches that go out and collect food donations from local grocery stores that some of these people get fed. But we don't have a place to store the food overnight. And so as we are deciding on what is going to happen with the log cabin, I want to make clear that this is not an item, it's not a community fridge. It's a storage item to be monitored by Marcella and her team. They would have the keys. It wouldn't be people coming and going. It's just a storage area. Because it's been very difficult to get places to agree to storage. We went to St. Joseph's, we went to the Calvary Church, we went to a few other, even Unidad. Unidad cannot store it because they are approved for serving fresh food to seniors, and they would not be permitted to store food that is past the deadline, which is what the case is with some of this grocery store food. So this item is to consider a space for a fridge that would be monitored by Marcella and her team.
Hi, Marcella, welcome.
Good afternoon, Marcela Rubio, Assistant Director to the Office of Housing and Community Services. As the Vice Mayor mentioned, we are trying to leverage existing resources to eliminate any cost for this initiative. This would allow existing staff to distribute food upon request to residents that need the food and cannot attend existing food distributions.
All right, Madam Vice Mayor, what would you like to do with this item?
Well, I don't know if it needs to stay in committee. When is the commission going to discuss the log cabin again?
That's still here in committee. The item got deferred due to issues relating to costs and uncertainty at this time whether it's going to stay in the park or moved over to the west lots and the potential cost implications. So we're pending, I think, some information to reschedule a discussion about the west lots and log cabin. Is that correct, Stephanie?
That's
All
correct.
right.
The items
I'd
are
like
still
to lump
pending.
this in together and then
Yeah.
maybe bring it back for June or whenever it is that you do the log cabin.
When we bring back the other items.
Okay, thank you.
And in the meantime, I'd like to encourage, I don't know if we've reached out to Miami-Dade County Public Schools. There's Biscayne Beach Elementary. That's up in North Beach. I don't know. They might not be able to, but, yeah.
We can contact them.
Yeah, let's work on that in the meantime until this item comes back.
Yeah.
Thank you for the idea, appreciate that.
Of course, and thank you all for your participation in today's meeting, to the members of the public who participated, and to the incredible staff who guides us in the work that we're doing. Thank you always for your support and your guidance. This meeting is adjourned.